go-to. All right, we're live. YouTube, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, you two.
Welcome to another BAOS podcast live. For the live podcast recording, I hope everybody is doing well, drinking some fine beer, having a good evening. Should we wait for a second until someone comes in?
What are you drinking?
So we're going to talk about this on the podcast, but right now we are both drinking this. Oh, because I can do this now, because it's going to... Oh, both of our faces, that's the problem.
Yeah.
There you go. The Newark Lager. These guys are from Niagara-on-the-Lake. Contract brewer out there. Sent us some stuff a little while ago. It felt like a crusher. Nice little Hellas. A little on the hazier side for a Hellas. Not sure why.
It is a bit hazier. That's what I noticed, because you said crispy.
Yeah. Well, it's still...
It is still a crispy boy, but I was like, I don't know why. I just thought you were going to give me some clear beer or something.
No. I'm like... Oh, you thought because I said crispy. Yeah. Well, typically they aren't super... They should definitely be crispier than that.
Look, you hear our guest in the background.
Yeah. Well, I guess on that note then...
That's good. One thing to note, not to tell our guest not to talk shit.
To mute the mic.
Or that. Because imagine people's like, I gotta effing do this podcast now.
You're like, fuck these guys. So I guess we might as well just get her going, eh?
I would say get her effing going. Like, why not?
Yeah, there's no reason to stop. All right, so we're gonna start the podcast. Let's go. What's good, yo? Wow.
Sorry.
See, look at this. I mean, we're just trying to get all the different stuff up here and see what's going on. All right, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. What's good, y'all? This is Cee Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 5 of BOS Podcast here on our Adjunct series, Quarantine Edition. I am here once again with my beautiful queen of everything, Tiffany Alexis. How you doing?
Thank you so much. You're so kind.
Thank you so much.
I am fantastic.
I can tell.
It was a beautiful Friday.
Yeah?
Kind of, you know.
Yeah, it was
17 degrees. It was just raining, but you know, it's still a beautiful Friday. I got a beer in my hand. What else could I ask for?
100%. Exactly right. So it's we're back with another live. So for those listening on the audio, this was recorded on the Friday, and then we come back on the Wednesday with the audio version of this podcast. So if you ever did want to tune in and watch it as it goes down in real life, you can tune in Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So, this evening, this is our second podcast now with a special guest. We did our first one last week with Nathan from Nathan Does Beer, so go check that out, episode 4. Something different for us. We spoke on it a bit. Not huge on Skype podcasts, typically because I like the energy of being in the room, and we changed BOS to involve a lot of filming. It was very important for us to be there in the breweries, but, you know, these are unprecedented times. So, you know, this is kind of fun, though. We get to do stuff we normally wouldn't, and we get to... essentially, how I say it, like do whatever the hell we want to do and talk to people that, you know, we wouldn't always be able to get in the same room as, which is very, very cool.
Yeah.
So, I'm about to bring in one of our really, really good friends. He has been on, I forgot what episode number, I think it was 153.
Yeah, it feels kind of.
It was like the Ottawa, when we went up to Ottawa.
Yeah.
This is Chris from Hops and Bros. Chris, welcome, sir.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Fantastic,
my king and queen of Montreal.
Yeah.
Oh, hush, you're too kind.
Stop it. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you guys. Good to see that you're all well and surviving right now. We know how hard it is in Montreal, being out there in Gatineau. It's much safer from what I've heard, but
yes.
You guys are doing very good, as I can see.
Yes, we're staying inside.
That's the trick.
Behaving ourselves. Before we even get into anything and start talking, let's talk about what we're drinking right now. So, what do you got in your glass? It looks hazy, my bro.
I'm drinking All Together.
Nice.
It's actually my second one I'm drinking. So it's the Noctem version of the All Together. I had the Bas-Canada one last week. This one just got released in the local beer store here in Gatineau.
Nice.
You
took
went there?
Me there. Yep. You took us there.
Yeah,
it was good.
And it's quite nice. I'm like they go on the AZ IPA side of things, but it's mostly an AZ Pale Ale. On the hop character side, it's very aromatic. A bit of the bitterness coming through, and it's fluffy. It's a mouthful of fruitiness in a glass, and I do love it. It's well made again for Noctem. If you had a couple of them, I guess.
Yes, they're great.
It's my chaser is actually the West Coast version of Noctem.
My chaser.
Ooh, okay. I haven't. I've heard about that one. I heard that one's pretty solid. That's dope.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, man. That sounds great. I actually only had my first altogether last night. It was the Charlevoix West Coast. They did a West Coast IPA version of it, 7%. It was good. It was a little
Yeah, I
sweet,
saw that.
but it was nice. Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
It was like because you expect like that pine and like the real bitterness. None of that was really present, but it was pretty good. We are drinking right now the there we go. Is it gonna kick in? Okay, Tiff might have to press it. There it is. This is the Newark lager. They're from Niagara on the Lake, contract brewer, doing a Hellas. Pretty decent. It's a little on the I guess opaque side for a lager. I'm not sure why. This is my second can of it. It looked like it was about the same. There we go. Taking the photos. I love it. See? Fellow beer media.
That's how beer tubers unite. Check that out.
Speaking of beer media, we have Guillaume in the building. Shouts to Guillaume. Soif, my bro. Beer Jedi, what's good?
Oh, yeah,
you know
man.
Guillaume.
Cheers, man. I can't see who's showing
Oh, you
up.
can't see it.
Oh, yeah, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
In the replay.
I like being like in the middle of nowhere, not knowing what's happening, just being on a Skype call and being
then all of a
broadcasted
sudden,
worldwide.
I wonder where. I wonder if there's like another way to do that so the guests can see what we're seeing in some shape or form. There has to be a way. Yes, Crispy Boy.
Oh, yeah.
About the Crispies. Had to start it off. Tiff and I have some crazy. I know, Tiff. Chris, we talked earlier. You had a couple beers that are more along the lines of what you're drinking now. We have something that's very out of the ordinary for us, and it was kind of an excuse to drink them, but they're about to be big. But we'll get to them shortly.
Some big boys, yeah.
All right. So, the
Big
last
boys.
episode. Do you remember what episode it was last that you were on? I guess it was April-ish last year. Oh, Tiff will check. There you go.
I'm the Jamie.
something
I don't know
like
if you
that.
guys watch Joe Rogan's podcast or listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, which is just brilliant. I'm the Jamie, so I'm the one that researches the things and hangs out on the side here.
It tells us what's going on. So we're like, Tiff, can you pull that up real quick? Pull it up. So we did the chat.
Put it up on the TV.
Right? Well, that's not a bad idea. Wish we had the TV. We need the TV.
I know. And it was episode 135.
135. Well, I did 153, so
Oh.
I guess I was just backwards.
You're just backwards, but you're pretty. Beers in the Parliament.
Yes, so we did our trip to Ottawa in April last year, and we interviewed a bunch of breweries, and we finally got you and Nate on a podcast, which was super cool. We did the spotlight on Ottawa, and that was the first time we were able to get you on, which we should have done earlier, but we're just never in the same damn place. So, right? Well, now we have
Finally,
an excuse.
I'm
Now-
here for the second time, and actually on the channel at the same time. Like it's exciting. I've always enjoyed doing podcasts. It's just something that every time we get invited to do one, we did one with 613 Beercast,
right? Yes.
and then we did some with you, and it's just always a cool experience to kind of like get a full-on conversation over like a bigger period of time than video, because usually like you do videos, I do videos. But you just sit down, you do 15 minutes, 10 to 15, and then you're done. And now, like me being here and Max in Niagara, we both record separately and then mash them up together. It's completely different. It changed our workflow entirely. We like trying to keep the same connection we have together while not being in front of each other. Like we stopped doing the calling thing because there was a delay. So we basically just like switched from one to each other with different parts separately. It's weird, but it turns out well, and we're getting good views out of it and good comments. So that's one cool thing that you need to adapt every single day when you're doing video or BrewTube the old school way.
Yeah, pivot or die. You gotta always pivot.
Yeah, you know, make it work. You guys were
Yeah.
sort of challenged
Always.
with this lack of physical, with a large physical distance.
Yeah.
About a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken, when Max moved out to Niagara to go to brewing school. So, do you know what? Even before we get into that, maybe you should just tell. Do you want to just tell the people who haven't watched you or followed you on either social or on YouTube, just what Hops and Bros is, what you guys do, and then we'll go back just in case people don't know.
Yeah, no worries. So if you've never heard about us, then we're Hops and Bros. We're a YouTube channel mainly focusing towards learning, but also making beer an easier thing to learn. If you're new to the scene, then we have Craft Beer 101s where you can learn different styles, but also we used to do a couple of beer reviews and all that, but we're really mainly focusing towards learning, speaking of history of styles, ingredients, and trying to make beer entertaining at the same time, visiting breweries, doing collabs with our friends, basically creating media around beer for watchers around the world, really, to watch.
It's great, man. I love Tiff and I always talk about it. Your the craft beer 101s are genius. It's such a sick idea. Your most popular videos are those ones because people want to know, like, what's your biggest ones? What is a Goza, right?
Yeah, and now it's kind of like competing. What's a Goza? It's an old video. You know how YouTube works? They kind of like killed it a little bit. What's a Stout is kind of like climbing slowly, coming back. And What's a Pilsner is right there back. But I think over the last year, our most popular were the ones about hops that we did. So I think we did a Mosaic, we did a Nelson Sauvin, and one Sabro that really kicked off. And I think Vike too, because it was like right on the spike where everyone was like, what the hell is Kvike yeast? And we were like, well, let's do a video about it, which it's challenging when you get like a new trend or a new hop, a new ingredient showing up. Like, it takes time for us here in Canada to get it. Usually trend starts somewhere else. So doing a video on brut IPAs, when we did our brut IPA video, we got the first brut IPA in Canada like 3 months after.
Right.
So we were doing the video without drinking the beer.
Right. Oh yeah, because you did the video. Okay, was that the Bas-Canada Flora whole collab? That was the first one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, at least the first one on the East Coast, and it was genius the way they did it. The Guillaume, no, what was it called? Gerard Como.
Gerald Como, which is the first guy that went to court in I think
it was like
New Brunswick
and Quebec border by bringing too many beers back over the New Brunswick border because they were cheaper in Quebec to buy, and it was shit beers. It was like Coors or something, but he got them like cheaper.
Yeah, and he won.
But I think that helped change. Helped change the federal law. I think we've talked about this a bunch, but federally it is legal, but provincially it's not. I think that's the problem. From what we can tell.
And it's still such a like, it's in a gray zone where it's all laws that are around prohibition. So super old laws geared toward prohibition are still affecting businesses, and right now it's a big issue. Like, I have a kind of the new Bas-Canada one with the big speech. I don't know if you saw the label, but it's basically just like no artwork.
Okay.
It's a speech that they wrote to say that like they'd like to be able to sell beers online. And it's not just about like the situation right now, but we're in 2020. I find it totally absurd that folks like us that are in Quebec are getting beer packages from breweries in Ontario, and you can't buy it. But I can get packages, but you can't buy it.
But even the way we get packages is under the table. Like, they're not technically supposed to send it to us. But they know that hops and brews.
It's like media. That's why it's not transactional or something.
Well, we didn't purchase it because, do you know what? It's probably a gray area. That's a really good point. I didn't think of that, Tiff. It's a gray area because we, like I said, there was no exchange of currency, and it's sent to you and us because they know that we have an Ontario listenership or viewership or whatever.
Yeah.
So that means that we would do the job that they want. But technically, I still think sending beer in the mail, like say, if you and I traded beer, I think technically you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So it probably comes under more of that. And some breweries still send them through the books.
Yeah.
Like they put I don't want to call them out, but you know who I'm talking about because we get a lot of the same packages where there's specific breweries. You get those emails from Canada Post. So like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about.
You get the tracking. You're like, okay, I'm getting a package.
Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, from Ontario.
I totally appreciate that.
I love that.
I think it's a fun thought that they put it towards it, and they've been like I think we can name that. I don't know if it's a good thing to name them. Let's not name them, but they know who they are, and I like they kept everyone in a loop, and they're always supporting like beer content. And even though if you're just not doing a full video on it or just taking pictures, they always kind of like come back and support you. I think it's very fun, and I think it's also something we talked a little bit about it. It's the fact that some breweries, like, yes, they do, like, we do stuff about their beers and they're not sharing it. It's a little bit artful sometimes,
Yes.
but like on a business standpoint, it's free content, and it's it's generated by the drinkers, and you're not sharing it after. Like, it's a weird thing that, but again, I think it's probably a lack of marketing mindset that's not always implemented into the breweries in general. Like, there's
100%.
breweries doing fantastic marketing, but there's breweries that totally lack of contact with their like social medias, but also just in general the way they portray themselves online. It's just it's awful sometimes.
Yeah, it can be really rough. And it's funny that you say that too, because user-generated content is like the biggest, easiest thing for any company to share. One, it's great because it's just like social proof. So it's like, hey, these are all the people who are drinking it, whether or not you gave it to them or not. It's there, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the other side where it's just like content is not always easy to come by. So when you get it, like, you capitalize on it, and you're supposed to share it and like do as much as you can to like I don't know, get it out there, leverage it. So
And
it
it's
is
even
interesting.
weirder than if they send us a package and then we do a video or something on it and they don't share it. Or two, if, say, for us, in our case, we do a podcast with them and they've had us in their brewery, they've given us, shared beers with us, sometimes even food if it's a pub, and we've taken the time, they've spent 3 hours with us, and then we put this whole package together, we edit the audio, my brother does that, TIff edits the video, boom, boom, and they don't share it, and you're like, really?
Yeah. So it's just, I think it usually just comes with somebody who doesn't. You can always tell when someone has like the social team.
You can tell who's
You
good.
can
There's
tell.
a bunch of really
There's
good
a bunch
ones.
of places. Dominion City, Beyond the Pale.
Dominion are
Even
amazing.
Beyond the Pale was like so intense. Like, even when we got there, they already had like, he was like, all right, I've set up the table. I have the beers
John
here. It
was
was amazing.
good. That was
And I was
really
like,
good.
you can tell there's just some people, like, they have the marketing manager there, and that
Yeah.
person is like dedicated to it. But it's hard to expect a brewer owner to want to even do that, right?
Totally.
So
no,
it's a
that's
lot.
why you need to have somebody there, like, just be it a really enthusiastic employee who at least will do that part for you, like the sharing side of things, and leverage that.
Even one was an interesting one.
Yeah.
Nickelbrook, we did a live the other night, which is one thing I want to talk about a bit later with the guy who made this thing I want to talk about. But I talked about Nickelbrook, and they're doing this thing where, we were talking about that craft brand thing that they're doing, where it's like the Zoom, and they're basically, Nickelbrook are doing that, but public. So basically there's a pack, it's $45, you can buy a bunch of beers, and then there's a Zoom link, and then that's the actual head brewer is going to talk everybody through the tasty notes, and you drink the beer.
So
So we've been promoting that for them.
Wow.
We talked about it in the live. They screen recorded the live and then posted the live in the stories. And I'm like, man, that is some good, good
Shit.
work.
That's some good content repurposing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed with
Yeah,
that.
that's dedication.
Yeah, man. I was like, that's how you do
Yeah.
it. Guillaume just commented, he said, old laws like riding strong beer on a 6% beer. WTF is that? What year are we in? 1898. Exactly. Having strong beer. I never thought about that. That's a good point. Strong beer
And
on
6%
anything
is
above
like,
6.
that's a patio.
And
That's
right?
just
It's a patio
entry
crusher.
beer. That's an entry beer.
And I think when you get to 8, they have to say extra strong beer. Is that right? Is it 8%?
I think it's something like that, but I'm not
Canadian
sure.
stuff.
Because there's also like a change in law about like when the margin of error as a brewer, like you can allow yourself 0.5% over, 0.5% under, but once you get over 8%, it's 1% over and 1% under. Like, it can make a big difference. And I remember I saw some breweries like serving in festivals beers with marked down labels with a new
ABV on it?
percentage on it.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like not a steep increase, but like a good 2% more.
Yeah, I've
And
seen like 2 to
it's a beer
3%
fest.
at a beer fest. It's always beer fests where they're like,
Yeah.
like whatever. Maybe it's 14%.
No, we
what do
did
you
one
mean
with
maybe it's 14%?
the one you're talking about. Is it the one at Chambly?
Yeah.
We can say who it is.
And
It
I was
was,
like, you're really good at no. Let's
Okay, we won't say the brewery. It was one
I
of
was like,
the
you can
first
really mess
Chambly.
people up with
Yeah.
this stuff. Like, you need to like put you can't be going that high because everyone's judging and like.
It was 11
putting
to
their list-
15. It was
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
barley
that's what it was,
wine.
11 to
It said
15.
11 on the can, and he was like, "Oh no, it's 15." We're like, what the fuck, bro? Like, and we should not have been drinking that
Yeah.
at a
I'm like, you mess people up.
at a beer festival. That was dangerous. Definitely not smart.
15%. That's a 4% increase.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think it
Damn.
was. I don't think it was legal. I think that was pretty. I know that's why we don't
Yeah,
call them out actually. Super crazy.
I think you can't sell a beer more than 14.9. I think.
Really, in Canada,
Like that's where it. In Quebec.
in Quebec, okay.
Because there's
oh, of course,
a
provincially.
brewery in La Madeleine has like a beer at 14.5%, and it's like an ice wine that not an ice wine, but it's ice beer. It's whatever. It's fantastic. It's like a barley wine at like 14 point something, but I like it has a little label on it that says like due to laws we're forced to get the beer at that percentage. We can't get it higher or like it's weird because you get in another tax bracket and you can't call it beer. You need to call it like
like
Okay.
fortified
Malt liquor.
malt liquor. Ah, because it's
Yeah.
just like it
Interesting.
is boozy malt product. That's a good point. Interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really strange. All these laws are super archaic. It's super ridiculous. And that's actually kind of one of the things I want to ask you about. Like overall, how are you coping with everything that's happening? But with regard to the laws, like wondering how, because you're in Gatineau, which is the Quebec side of Ottawa, and they closed the bridge. So I was
Yep.
curious about how you were getting your beers. But the first question was, how are you coping with everything? How you doing? Because you've got a young baby as well, so you're dealing with that.
Yeah.
Your new father.
It,
How old is she?
yeah, I had a new father. She's 11 months on Sunday.
Damn.
Yeah, I didn't really.
That
I thought she was like
flew,
bro.
6 months, to be honest. Wow.
Yeah, same. I didn't think it was that.
No,
Oh my
I know.
gosh, time
That's
went
It
by.
goes
crazy.
so fast.
Wow.
It's crazy how fast it goes. But yeah, we've been coping like very good. I left work a month and a half ago. My girl, not left. I got laid off.
Oh, you got is it
because,
furloughed or laid off?
yeah, I'm laid off. I don't have a job anymore.
Do you have a job to come back to?
Yes, I have a job to come back
That's
to.
furloughed.
I'm not sure if it. Yeah, and it's actually in a brewery. So.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh,
it's a different
another-
place. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm
You
changing.
didn't tell me.
Yeah.
You didn't have to
I'm
say it on
switching.
camera. You don't have to say it on camera. You can tell us off.
No,
camera.
it's pretty much official. The brewery's not open yet, but it's a brewery opening soon in Gatineau. If you heard about Cinquième Baron.
You told us about. I only know them because you told us about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I told
Congrats,
you guys
man.
about it. But I'll be like working front of house, helping marketing sides, just doing a bit of everything. It's a brewery starting, so very, very happy to jump into another cool project like that. But it's exciting because I kind of like transition through this whole situation right now. But yeah, it's girlfriend's back at work. She's a nurse, so I have also to deal with that, having an health professional in my house.
Of course.
But they're also like it's if you are close to die and need to go to the hospital, like it's actually not that busy here in Gatineau. So that's one good thing. But
Okay.
also they need to take extra care on every single aspect of like wearing gloves and the full hazmat suit for every single person, changing gloves, changing masks. It's a big challenge because they are also burned out from their shift of work, but after that also taking every single extra measures to not risk being infected. It plays on the brain.
Oh, I bet.
But
Yeah, of
they are definitely strong people, so I'm not even scared about it on that end. Like from my girlfriend coming back with it, like she's a pro, so
Okay.
She's not messing around.
we always laugh about it because I'm always like, burn your clothes when you come back, so you'll get new ones after. But so far, like we've been I don't know if it's like it's not a blessing, but it's like I'm spending time with my daughter, which I haven't spent that much time since she was born. I'm full time with her, and then after that, I'm lucky because I have access to an home gym. So I've been working out like 5 days a week, 2 hours per session.
Damn.
I'm in
My
an
goodness.
athlete shape right now, which is crazy.
Yeah, I
That
was.
is-
And I'm drinking beer.
And you're drinking beer.
And
Hey,
you're
you're
drinking beer.
balancing out, which I think we're going to touch on. But I like what you said about having time with your daughter. That's something another brewer friend of ours said. which was just like, damn, I didn't have any time with my first kid at all, and now I'm actually experiencing like my like daughter, and she's great. He's like, oh, she's so cool, and I've never like had this opportunity to like hang out with them before. So it's like, it's kind of ridiculous to me though that parents don't have that opportunity. Like, the world has to end for people to be able to spend ample time with their child. Like, that's pretty crazy. Yeah. So I think that says a lot for the system that we're in.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it should always be that way. If you push out something or if you have a child, you should be able to enjoy having the child. Yeah. It shouldn't be like you enjoy them when they're 19 or something, right? So
yeah.
I'm happy that you're experiencing that, and it's cool because it seems like, well, there's two people. I think anyone with a kid over 6, they just want to kill themselves. But anyone with like the babies and like stuff like that are having a good time.
I think it challenges creativity on another whole level, because you want to go out, definitely. You guys are in an apartment building, so it's a bit more challenging, but like, you need to be creative in your own space. Like, I've seen jokes about like, I found places in my home that I've never been to, and to some extent it's true, right?
Yeah.
And I dusted off my bike. Now I'm moving on a bicycle when I need to go somewhere else, and it's like, I've never used that bike in like 5 years. Now I'm using it. Like, what's going on? And just challenging myself into doing other stuff that I would probably never have done.
Yeah.
Even on video side, like I spoke with Max, like every single week we're trying something different, playing on let's be better on this, let's upgrade on that, let's do this and that. Of course, we don't have like extreme budgets to spend on equipment and whatever, but creating better content at the same time is what we're at right now. We have all the time. Obviously, I have to take care of my daughter, so I have 2 hours per week to do that. But you just sit down, do some content, and then better yourself. It's a good time to reflect on yourself and be better when you come out of it. Not come back pissed off. Come back with a positive mindset about what happened.
Exactly.
No, that's great, man. I like that. It's good that you've been able to. That was one of our questions. Was like, what have you been doing to keep fit through it all? I didn't know you had a full home gym. That's sick. What do you have?
I actually don't have a full home gym. Because when everything broke out, like my girlfriend brother, he lives like next to my place, not next to it, but like a few minutes away, and he's alone. Like, basically he works from home and he's alone. So it's the only contact that if we have, it's with him. Okay. So it's like he's confined with us. And he's like a huge CrossFit guy, and he got me into it. And he has like a good basic home gym at his place, and it's all like, basically he has a rig built out of wood, and we're building a new rig this weekend because we want to improve and do whatsoever. But he's like that crazy guy, and he took me across that. So we're doing like Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays off, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays off.
Jeez. Damn.
And he's, and we're drinking beer to that and trying to kind of like keep it going, but it's
that's good, man.
That's a good balance. I think that's a great balance.
It's insane.
You're the only person I've heard who said they're in a better shape now than they were beforehand. Everyone else is fat.
Oh God,
including me.
I ran out of beer like week 1. I didn't really stock up on beer. Like you were talking about it. How do I get my beer? Like, usually I go to Dominion City, I get beers from 210 Nail and whatsoever, but I got one last order from 210 Nail and they closed down the bridge.
Right.
So I got through that order, and after that, like, my fridge is full of sours, like very big sours and big stouts. Like, I can't drink that by myself and enjoy my steak or burgers. I need to find new beers. So, of course, like, one cool thing about it is that Bas-Canada is not being overrun by mules and beer hunters, so you can basically place an online order when they release the beers and get it straight out of the door without doing lineups. It's fantastic. Never been so happy, and never been so easy for me to get access to my local brewery in a weird way.
Yeah.
So that's a good, because one of the things that Nate and I talked about, we talked about it in our group chat. We have a group chat for people who don't, like, we've talked about it before, with Chris, Max from Hops and Bros, Nathan, myself, and Noah from Beers, and so we talk pretty much every day. And one of the things that we were talking about in there was we were Wood Brothers, when we did the collab, the big group collab with all of us together, it's pretty hard for people to continue to get their beers because they sell out immediately. And I noticed that Masorum's the same thing. Like, you just can't get it. Like, you just cannot get their beers right now. Like, it's super frustrating because now I have less access than ever to Masorum's beers, but it's cheaper for me. I put in an order just for a few beers from Bellwoods today, to get their together, what's it called? All Together beer.
Yeah.
So they send it to my friend, and then he sends them to me, and it's cheaper for me to do that double shipping than it is for me to take an Uber to and from Masorum. Like, it's
crazy.
It's so ridiculous. Which comes back to the Bas-Canada thing about needing to ship. So speaking of that, looks like we're going to next beers. What are you? What are you gonna do?
I'm rinsing right now.
Rinsing. Well, whilst Chris is rinsing, let me tell you what we have. So we have. Oh, we might have to tap it. So actually, I picked these up from Vermont recently. These were shipped to me last year. My friend in Vermont gets them. So it's from New Realm. They're a brewery in Atlanta, Georgia. They have another one in Virginia Beach, Virginia. They did 3 special release beers. We had an Imperial Stout, which was phenomenal. And there's 2 versions. There's actually a second one we're going to be cracking after. These are a beer that I never really liked. It's a Belgian quad.
Love these styles.
But this one is aged in bourbon barrels, and the other one's aged in Barbados rum barrels. This one is 11.2%. So we're going straight to straight to the big boys.
We had breakfast, right? Yeah, we did.
We had breakfast, yeah. So we'll be fine.
It was fine.
Plus,
You're not messing around, man.
No, we're going straight to the big boys, Christopher.
It's Friday.
Right?
Hey, it's Friday. Every day is really the same, but, why not?
Yeah, every day's the same.
Same for you, I imagine.
The only reason I know it's Friday is because you just said it.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just like, whatever.
Nice.
So, it looks like a quad.
Ooh, you smell that?
It just smells like bourbon, really. It's intense.
How exciting.
All right, well, I don't know. Get in ya. Cheers, bloke.
4 years.
I'm going to crack mine. I forgot to
crack it.
pour my beer.
Interesting. It's not... No,
oh, it smells good.
It's not terrible.
Nice. Doesn't even taste boozy.
No, I was a bit worried about that. Let me do the photo real quick.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
That's
yes.
a nice
That's the West Coast?
Looks great.
Yeah, it smells great, too.
It smells good? It looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of pine in there. I like it. Oof.
Tell me more about it, Chris. Tell me.
Color is fantastic overall. Nose, like it's pungent on the nose. Like you get woody, piney, like resin kind of hint on it. But after that, like sip, it's light, it's fluffy. I get a little bit of citrus, a little bit of pine, but it's very subtle, and it ends on like I always like the red candies, the little red candies, hard candies. What's the name?
Jolly Rancher?
It's like just sugar candies, but I forgot the name. It's in French. It's sucre d'orge. It's barley candies, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not a candy person, so I'm not one.
Yeah, I can't.
Little
I have the right word in
small
French,
red
but not the...
candies.
Yeah, and
Red
like
candy.
they do big lollipops out of them. It's just like a sweet candy.
Okay.
Like there's no other flavors out of it, but it has like that
Sugar.
it's candy cane sugar finish on it, which is very nice. Like it makes it a little bit smoother.
Okay.
It's easy crushable for like 7%. It's could be dangerous. Could be.
It could be.
It's not 15% instead of 11.
Hopefully they're being honest with what the label says there for
Yeah.
you. But
Exactly.
that sounds great.
And they have a cat doing skateboard on it, which is pretty cool.
That's gangsta. They
So
always
it's a
have the
good time.
cats. What's the deal with all their cats on their cans?
I don't know. That's one thing I don't know about them. I don't know a lot about them. And they're in Quebec City.
Yeah.
They opened up before I left. No. Like when I left Quebec City, they weren't open yet. So
You lived in Quebec City?
yeah, I lived in Quebec City for a year.
No shit.
Yeah. In the old part of the Quebec. Like in the beautiful part of
oh, that
Quebec
gorgeous
City, like,
part right
where-
down there.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was going there for university. Me and my girlfriend, we lived down there for a year, and we had like one of those crazy apartments. It was like a loft with a rooftop patio.
Damn.
Just like that was crazy for like the rent we were paying. Like it was just a crazy cool apartment. It used to be like an old dance studios with like mirrors everywhere.
That was sick.
That
It's like
was a bit
lofty
weird.
style type
That would be
thing.
good. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
sick.
yeah, it just full on open.
Awesome.
When we had people over, like they were sleeping on the couch next to us. That was a bit weird, but it was a nice experience.
That's always been
'cause
my
there's
thing
no
with
walls.
lofts.
Yeah.
Is like you really just don't want to have anyone over because they're just like you're all just looking at each other all the time. It's weird.
Yeah, it does seem a
that's-
bit strange.
Exactly.
Like I love the loft lifestyle. It's just that's the main thing. Is just like it's not for anyone but the like couple or the one person or something.
Yeah.
It's too weird. Like I don't want to see you can't change or something. You always have to be in the bathroom. Or you always have to be like off to the side. It's just
Yeah, because bathroom's the
yeah.
only place.
I
that's
guess
private,
I'm a
yeah.
bit too free on that. I was just like, you know what? That was a
You gotta see everything.
your
man.
friends
don't
there.
mind
You just
changing
change in front of them. Yeah, why not?
I love that. That's sick.
Quebec City's beautiful though. I didn't know that you lived there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've only been one time, but I
Yeah.
guess the beer out there seems pretty dope. It
Yeah.
seems like a cool vibe now.
It would be great to get them on the podcast since
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you need to go outside of like the actual old part of town because it's like a very tourist part. Like it's a tourist trap
Heavy.
at some
Yeah.
point. So
Yeah.
having access to good beer like Noctem, you need to go outside. There's La Barberie that does good beers, but also Emporium that just opened up like a year or 2 years ago.
It's a brewery.
That they are completely like outside of the
Gotcha.
whole like downtown
Oh, I
area.
see.
So it took them a lot of time before getting where like Montreal or even here in Gatineau where we are for Quebec City because it's like a more conservative area of the Quebec. So you get a bit more conservative people which are not always keen to go towards new things, I think, in my opinion. So if you're from Quebec City, sorry about that, but that's my way to see Quebec City. But also people in Quebec City, they know that they're beautiful, they know that they do good stuff. So they have a little bit of like a
Big head.
inflating head, a big ego.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Interesting. We only went there one time, and we had like a real. It was the time in Quebec City was dope, but we had a strange experience in
Trois-Rivières?
In Trois-Rivières. We were with Scott.
Oh.
Scott used to be my for people who are old school listeners. You guys know who Scott Biacola is, but he used to be the co-host of BAOS. He never liked like Quebec. He was one of the Torontonians who was just never like, you know how there's always
You know,
that
the
rival.
rivalry.
I think it mostly stemmed from the sports teams
Yeah.
though, like because he's a passionate like Maple Leafs fan and whatever, and that was a big thing with Quebec and with Montreal and Toronto specifically.
Sorry, yeah. When we were moving here, I don't even think he said like, "Oh, why Montreal?" or "Have fun in Montreal." He's like, "If you support the Habs, you're dead to me." And I was like, "Wow!" Of all the things, like the first thing was just.
So
like,
I've got. It's
he's
okay.
like, "If you're ever in a
Alright.
Canadiens jersey, or if
It's
you
over.
support them, it's over." And I was like, "Okay, well then."
Oh no, but you guys have been in Montreal for how long now?
7 years, 8 years.
8 years in July.
8 years.
Yeah.
And I've been
So-
in Canada 10
Hey,
years.
I
basically
support
live-
the Habs. They're the winning team.
Yo.
Sorry, I'm on team winning.
Wow. She's born in like raised in Toronto, coming through with that.
I'm on the winner's side.
I've only got the Leafs jersey, so
I like
did
having
not,
a winning
I didn't
team.
cheat. So anyway, Scott was getting
but-
him to come
yeah.
here was a challenge. So we pulled up in Trois-Rivières. We were all just getting out the car to get some food, and we were like, "Man, this place is beautiful," because we hadn't been anywhere in Quebec at the time. This is like 2014 or something.
Okay.
And as we got out the car, we were all talking to each other in English, and some guy riding past on a bicycle was like, "On parle français au Québec," and Scott's like, "What did he say?" I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
And that ruined the whole
And it
trip.
sucks because Scott walked down and was like, "This place is so beautiful."
finally
That's why I remember he
convinced him?
opened the door, walked down, and was like, "This place is so beautiful." And then some guy's like, "On parle français à Québec,"
like,
and he's like, "What do you say? What do you say? Something about my
Uh,
English?" And I was like, "Oh fuck,"
Because he was already on edge about it. So like,
yeah.
we
Oh,
haven't
and then he
been-
got into another altercation about someone talking shit about Toronto. That was in Quebec City on our way
Really?
to those dorms. When we were in those dorms.
Oh, in the park. Yeah, I feel like he was attracting it at that.
I
point.
think he was attracting.
He had
He had
like
big Anglo energy.
yeah, he had like bad Quebec energy because like even sometimes my brother comes here and he doesn't always have the easy. He's always like comes back like, "Man, they wouldn't even fucking talk to me. They wouldn't do." I'm like, I don't know, man. I've lived here all this time. I can barely speak French and it's fine. Like, you just got to know how to treat
Yeah.
them. I think people come here with that like that wall up. And they just don't know how to conversate.
When it shit is actually supposed to be fun. Like, it's supposed to be fun when you go somewhere
It is
that's
fun.
different than, and the language is different. It's like you're cute and you're shy and you just say the things and people are happy that you say bonjour and then they're like, oh, look at you, little English speaker, and then they're nice to you. Like that has been my experience for 8 years straight. And like, yeah, obviously we're better in French now. Like maybe it's more obvious that we live here, but still, like it's never been a negative. I've never had a negative experience.
Not like that.
No.
Anyway, that was just a side note. It's
Hey,
always
Montreal is perfect for that.
Yeah, and that's also the thing though. We're in like the place for it. So.
Yeah, Montreal's been pretty chill for the most part. And I feel like the best people are the beer folks because like there's been so many people who have come on the podcast who can barely speak English, and they've gone out of their way to accommodate us and speak English because they want to reach this Anglophone audience. Even when they're struggling, they always apologize and like, well, it's okay, don't worry, man. I appreciate it. It's very, very cool. I feel like the Quebec folks are the sweetest about that. They've just been really kind and they made us feel more welcome. I feel like the more we're around them, the more I'm like, wow, and like they enjoy it. And I start to listen to them talk and pick up some of the stuff again, understanding shit. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah,
I like it. It. The beer guys are good.
And if you make it enjoyable on your end and you're enjoying it, then it reflects very well. Like you don't look at an ass that doesn't want to work
or try
to understand or to just try in general. And I think that's what insults people the most is not trying, just kind of like creating that facade or that barrier that I don't speak French, so like no, just don't talk to me. It just and this really like fuss people out. Like I worked with public in Quebec City, and it's like a big French forward place. It's conservative over there, right? And having to speak with tourists and everywhere, like they were always like I got a good English, so it was easy for me to talk with those people, but they were like very, very happy that I was able to adapt myself to what the language they were speaking to make it easier for them to understand and to after that get good tips and good conversations to where to go and not fall into tourist traps and whatsoever. So I think being kind to where you're visiting, even though it's not your main language, it pays off like very good in the end process.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
No, it's super key. Particularly a place like this. I mean, you're in probably the best place, I would argue, because you guys are right on the like you've got more French-speaking Anglophones than probably anywhere else in the country because of Ottawa. So there's a ton of people who are bilingual there because of the government stuff. So both sides are pretty comfortable, and everyone, like, you're a Francophone who speaks perfect English. Nate is an Anglophone who I don't know what his French is like, but I think it's pretty. I never heard him speak it, but I think it's like.
He has a very good French. He took French lessons, and his wife is main speaking French.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is
she?
She?
From Lac Saint Jean.
Yeah, he told us.
So it's like.
She was actually like Quebecois.
Right. She's like total. Okay, cool. So then like it sort of makes it easier for him because he's got.
She's from blueberry country.
Blueberry country,
like where the blueberry grows.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know they grew in Lac Saint Jean. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. I heard they're like big, like this big. They can do a whole pie with blueberries over there.
Is that true? Really?
Are you lying to us?
Are you lying to us? I was like, don't lie to me.
They're small.
Because I was like, we go to all these farmers markets. I've never seen those blueberries that you speak of.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That's awesome. I had no idea that you love that. That's great.
I love that. No, it's very, very cool.
I'm trying to see if we can just keep talking shit. I'm just checking to see if the different stuff we're talking about.
Talking shit is always a great time.
Yeah. One of the other things I want, like, how, as far as, like, your YouTube stuff, like, how has that been going as far as, like, are you growing? Are you posting more? You, like, how is that, what are the patterns you're noticing during this time? Because even, like, say, with us, we've found that we've done more initially. We've never been live on YouTube now. Now this is our 5th week in a row.
Yeah.
Doing these podcasts just for the hell of it.
Series. What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And we even went live on High Season, our other channel, recently, which was really cool. We've been doing the Instagram lives for BAOS. I feel like we've been producing more content overall, and everything is growing. All the numbers are up. Sometimes the live numbers are hit or miss, but I think people are kind of over lives. To be honest,
I'm over lives.
Yeah, I don't even really
performing live, but watching it is just like there's too many. It was like too many.
Yeah, this live for us is more to get a video for these like side podcasts. Otherwise, we wouldn't really do a video section. So it was like, hey, let's just go live. We don't have to edit it. We can still make it good, we do a thumbnail and we do all the bits for it, so it's in our YouTube and people can still watch it, and now they can hear the whole episode, just leave it in the background like we would with Joe Rogan or Joe Biden.
That's why I wanted to do it, was specifically so that there could be a video component, because there were still the people who were watching the video podcast over the actual audio.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that they have that. And it's actually really fun from an engagement perspective, like actually speaking to people is so cool, like talking to the community. I drink fast. You know how this goes. I love that aspect. I think that's super cool. It's just like, as on the consumer side or on like the audience side, there's just too many lies to choose from, and then you get decision fatigue and you just bail altogether or something, So
yeah, it's quite a lot. So anyway, that was just our experience. How's yours experience been over this time, bro?
Yeah. We just kept going. It felt weird. Like the first week that everything was happening, it felt weird doing a video at all.
Yeah.
Like with the first week that it really felt like, oh, should we do a video or should we not? Like, should we focus on maybe not crashing onto internet and do a video, and when people are not really in the mood to watch videos? I was kind of like skeptic, but also scared. Like, are people gonna watch us? Are they gonna steer away from it? Are they gonna steer away from internet at all? Obviously not. Everyone's on internet right now. But Max just told me, like, we're doing entertainment, so if we can get that thing off everyone's mind and just do a video on something else, then let's do it. So we did that, and we for the full month, like we're like 30% more views, more watch time, more everything, which is very good. And also, like, we're getting like a constant flow of new subscribers. So for me, it's all like, it's better than February. So far, it's a win situation for me. We didn't jump into making more content, like doing lives. We did that back in the day. The main reason is that we're not in the same room. We're like on a longer distance. We tried to play on new projects. We were talking about maybe doing French content specific for people, because we're in Quebec, and also Max has a French connection in, like, he's a Franco-Ontarian, so we wanted to do that.
Okay, I dig that.
So Max is a Franco-Ontarian, so his roots are right there. So for us, it's still important to create French content. It's just like timing is not right for us right now. It's hard to just sit down and create content. We wanted to go with something more like a podcast with video, but only in French, because it's kind of like a niche right now. It's not existent. There's not a lot out there. But doing that, like, it's challenging. It's not something that I thought it was easy. But then I went through like the whole audio thing and tried to record something live from what we were doing, just me and him, and it turned out like shit. The 2 times we tried it, so a good hour and a half of time just
disappeared,
lost over there. So. When you do something good, try to improve that. So that's what we've been doing with Craft Beer 101. It's just we also were lucky to get a sponsorship in at the same time, which timing was a bit weird, but for them, it's a homebrew shop, and they do beer equipment online. For them, it's been like one of the craziest time of the year. So having to just merge everything, all that together, for us, it's a first partnership. So we were learning every single bits of pieces, trying to just give the best that we can give to our viewers at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's very cool. And so they're actually seeing more sales happen as a result of this period. Are they consumer focused or are they like brewery focused? Like, is it brewing equipment or is it consumer?
I think it's consumer. Like, they're a bit more like some breweries order specialty hops out of homebrew shops when they need a fast turnaround, because if you don't have access to specialty hops straight out of the brewery with the contract, then you need to turn to like retailers for it. But from what I've heard, like what they told us, like they're going through like homebrewing setups like.
I was thinking it's so cool because there could be a bunch of people who are excited and want to brew from home now because they're like, fuck, well, I can't go out as often and get beer now, so it's like a fun project to pick up. That's
Yeah.
great, cool.
Yeah, I
That's
like
great
that.
for
And it's
them.
easy. Like if you get like a good, if you have already a good kettle, then getting a little grain setup at home and do it. It's easy doable. And I remember when I was in Montreal, I had like is it a 2 liter? Yeah, a 2 liter homebrew setup. It was super small.
Super tiny.
It's what's the name? Brooklyn Brew Shop.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you guys saw it. Like they have very cool marketing, but basically
Yeah.
it's a little box and you get like a full brewing setup in one $80 box.
And it's from the
okay.
Brooklyn
Beer
Brewery,
turned out
right?
like, yeah, exactly.
And
Beer was good,
beer
and
was good?
so I brewed like an IPA, a West Coast IPA back in the day,
Nice.
which was,
You and Max don't
but it's a
brew
net
a lot,
job.
right? You guys don't brew really. Like
You used
together.
to.
Like obviously Max
Like,
is brewing because he is a brewer.
yeah.
But I mean like you guys
I'm
weren't
very
doing that.
bad at brewing.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
You know
I'm not
your
great
strengths.
either.
It's
It's
just
too much.
important to
I'm
know
very
your
bad.
strengths.
But Max is very good, actually. Like I'm very impressed of how well he's doing. We home brewed a beer 6 months ago when he was in town,
Okay.
and he never came back because of work and whatsoever. So it fermented for 6 months.
Oh,
I dumped
shit.
it last week.
Oh no. Oh
It
no.
smells so good. It smells so good. I'm pretty sure it was infected at the same time because it was just
It's too
sitting in
long,
my
right?
basement for
Wait, why
6
didn't you
months.
take? You were just like,
Uh,
fuck, I'm not touching this. Like, I don't want to touch this.
No, because like we were just all it wasn't like an easy IPA, so we want to keg it. We have kegs here to like actually pour it from a tap. But yeah, I don't know how to do that, and Max wasn't there to do it, so
You're
we
like,
were just
"Ah."
like that. You know, we're like we need to dump it, so
Yeah.
I just kept it for 6 months. That's me.
Damn, that sucks. That's no, that's crazy. By the way, I just want to tell people because part of this is to let people know what we're drinking. So we all just cracked the second beer. It's the I'm gonna have to tap that, babe. The second Wooded Reserve Belgian Quad. This one aged in Barbados barrels, 12.5%. It's good. It tastes pretty similar to the other one. Looks pretty similar, like side by side. Where are we? Here we are. Yeah, like it's a little.
I'm getting like
You get the
heavy
more
like
bourbon.
raisin.
Raisins, soup.
Oh, you are
tons of
too.
raisin,
That's
yeah.
so funny. Okay, good.
Like, and then it's good. It's not my thing, but
It's just like raisin central for me. That's all. Like, it's
I
like
feel like
I
if
don't
you
know. I
like-
was like the nerd who ate like I actually really enjoyed those little red raisin packages. I can't remember the company name now, but they were like little packages
Sun-
you could get. Yeah, is it like Sun
Yeah,
something, right?
Sun-
And I feel like there's
Sun-
like a lady on
something.
the cover or something like that. But you get like
Yeah.
15 raisins in a package. Sipping this feels like if you like put a
Drinking
handful of
raisin,
raisins
yeah.
in your mouth or something. Like I'm not mad at it at all.
No,
but
no,
it's
no,
funny.
that's
It just
the quad,
makes me
right?
think of
yeah, quad. So it's like really well made.
The quad, yeah.
I'm starting to
Dry
come.
raisins, yeah.
Yeah, I've started to come back around and enjoy Belgian beer because of Rodenbach. Because Rodenbach is just so amazing. What's up?
Can I just see the bottle for a second?
This one?
Yeah.
And now, but I don't know. This is like I can tell it's really, really exceptionally well made. Like their stout, like I said, they had the third one in the series was the stout, and it was out of control. It was one of the best barrel aged stouts I've had in a while. So I can tell these are really good. It's just not for my palate. But if you're into quads, like you'll lose your fucking mind.
I just wanted to see if they mentioned the raisins at all because it's like
No.
so intense.
I think it's just like known as a
over
tasting
time.
note.
For this, it's just like so heavy.
Yeah.
Plus also like rum barrels. I'm pretty sure they'd be
Yeah.
raisiny as well.
Yeah.
Like the spices and all that shit. Yeah, it's
You
pretty-
should get a little bit of spice, but yeah, definitely
bit
the
of
raisins
spice.
are coming from
Racked
the
up fruit.
quad. Like it's not dried fruits,
Dried
but raisins and figs. It's always
The
something
figs,
you
so
get from
true.
the quad.
Yes,
sometimes.
yes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Belgian styles these days?
Oh man, I miss them.
Yeah.
I miss it's something we've been reminiscing lately because we just did a video on. Shit, we just did it. I forgot what we did. Oh yeah, on Dunkels, which is a German style, but also we're doing bitter beers next week. So we're revisiting older styles because they are hard to find. Like I had to find a Dunkel at the beer store, and I wasn't able to find one. Like it was
Really?
super hard, and I found one which was like a bit too old to my preference, but
Yeah.
at this point, it's the only one that they add in store. But Belgian beers, for me, it could be a hit or a miss. Sometimes I think they have a way too much high carbonation level,
Yeah.
and it does really get in the way of the palate. But I'm a big saison fan in general, so for me, if I can get more saisons, then I'll be good for
Oh,
life.
you're
I
the
think
opposite
saisons
of
for
Craig.
life.
Yeah,
You're the
we always
opposite.
Yeah,
joke. We
yeah.
Oh
always talk
yeah.
about
Oh, I
it.
guess that's the whole point is that you guys
Yeah,
opposites
Noah and
attract.
Chris
Look at
have
that.
Noah and Chris have like the similar palette, and Nate and I have a similar palette.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that
Yeah.
crazy. Like we just make fun of. I always call them yawn beers because they're boring. And but like I've been appreciating more. Like if I could get my hands on a Hill Farmstead saison or farmhouse, man, I'm all over that.
Yeah.
I
shit.
just remember that we were talking about something the other day. I don't know if it was something boring, but you're like, "Wow, what is this? Like Noah's palette?"
Noah's beer palette and then Noah's palette.
you were like,
Yeah, that's
"Yawn."
more boring than Noah's palette
Yeah.
right now. Fuck. Yeah.
So funny.
But I appreciate. I feel like it's like we're all coming up. I mean, like really, we like less lactose anyway. Like the lactose thing has been funny. Like the team lactose shit.
Yeah.
It's got to be used right, or it's terrible. Like it really isn't good.
Yeah.
And
It's like everything in beer. Like if you want to use bread yeast in your beer and it tastes too much, then it's not good. And if you put lactobacillus to get it sour, and it tastes like sour puckers, then it's not good either. You failed at your task. It needs to have a balance. Whether it's with lactose, whether it's with vanilla, whether fruit. If you don't have a balance, good drinking experience out of it, too overpowering, it just destroys the whole way of drinking beer. Like this beer, it's well balanced. I get cool aromas up front. The middle is like if you talk like the whole how it tastes in your mouth and and you can see different steps through it, and it doesn't get overpowered, and you're able to kind of like go through it back and forth. That for me, this is where the fun starts because okay, I can taste that up front, then after that in the middle I get that, then in the end I get that. But if you have too much lactose and it's just sweet all the way to the end, then it's a miss. But it could be the same thing with Pilsner. If the Pilsner is just bland and doesn't have a nice cereal character and it's basically just like a little bit of bitterness and dry, then no, it's not good either. And it could be infected at the same time. You get diacetyl, it tastes like apples. Like it's all things that matters in the end process. It's the balance between all the ingredients that you're using in beer, which we always say there's 4 ingredients in beers, but Max always adding that there's a 5th one that everyone try to hide. But time is very important in beer, and not a lot of people are talking about it.
That's cool. I love that.
In the
Like,
sense
time
of like,
is the other ingredient.
like how long it's, or how much time you put into it, or how much time it's been sitting there, or what does he mean by that?
Yeah, because time is a key factor in brewing in general.
Right.
Your mashing time, then after that boiling time, and when are you adding your rot? Also fermentation time, and all that is time, not an actual ingredient, but it will play a big difference in beer, and especially if you go through the fermentation process. A beer is done when it's done. You can't force it to be done. It needs to go through a natural process. If you force it out, then you'll stress the yeast and you'll end up with off flavors out of that yeast. Obviously, like it's super science stuff. I'm very bad at that, but it's the takeaway I get from it is that if your Pilsner after 4 weeks is not ready, then it might need a 5th or a 6th week out of it. And it's not something that a lot of people do understand when they try a lager. Yeah, you get 2 more weeks of fermentation technically that's added in this beer, and you don't realize how much time. Like for breweries, it's not like a beer sitting in a tank is money sleeping. So for them, it's not a style that they want to go into there, because you can easily turn yourself to an ale, an easy pale ale, and sell it in 2 weeks and do another one by the time you have your Pilsner sitting there for 6 weeks.
Now you can do three
That's a lot.
beers. Yeah.
That's so interesting to me, and I
Yeah.
love that Matt said that. I know that's so cool to say, like, the missing ingredient is time, because it's so true. Because what's more fascinating to me is watching these brewers, and the science means everything. Like, when you're interviewing someone in a podcast, and, like, one of their brewers, like an assistant brewer, runs over, and they're like, oh, I gotta do, like, this, or something. You know what I mean? Like, everything is so time sensitive,
Yeah.
because you can completely alter what a beer tastes like if you miss key points. He's 100%
Yep.
right in that, and I think that's the beautiful thing is people probably think more about the art of it more than anything, but they are true scientists, like measuring all these very
Yeah.
very small increments that lead to a delicious product. So that's very very cool that he said that.
I like that. The fifth
It-
ingredient
it's
is
a
a good
recipe.
episode name.
Ooh, good episode name. The fifth ingredient is the episode name.
I like that. I like that.
I like that too.
I really like that. That
Yeah,
is so
it's a-
cool, though. That's such
Yeah.
a cool. It's such an interesting concept, and that's, I guess, why would that be the thing? Is that brewers don't want, because, you know, so for example, you have a can that's gone through second fermentation, like something happens. Is that because they pulled it too early, or is that something you can't predict? I'm just asking a question, but you guys might
No,
not know.
I think it's something you can predict. It's just on the safety standpoint, because if you have second fermentation, you definitely have an infection in your beer.
Okay.
Usually it happens with fruits
Okay.
because they're using unpasteurized fruits. Like as we all know, like fruits have bacteria and yeast on them. So if you don't properly pasteurize them, then you'll end up with actual living bacteria and yeast that will eat off the residual sugars that are in the beer. And then what they do is just eat the sugars, release CO2 and alcohol inside of that can. So you have a time bomb right there waiting to blow up in your sink or in your fridge.
Or in our cupboard. It's happened in our cupboard. It's happened over in the
so
case.
bad,
It's it gets bad. So fuck. Okay.
It gets bad, and it's I guess you can filter it. Cold crashing is a big part of it because you get rid of sediments, but also all the active yeast in there dies off and goes into the bottom. There's a lot of things that you need to double check before doing that, and we're seeing more of it lately because of the fruited sours going out everywhere. There's just a lack of consciousness about it. You're playing with fruits. It's kind of like a live matter, and you're putting it into a liquid that has a lot of sugars. So obviously, you're making a recipe for a second fermentation in your can.
Yeah. Interesting. One of the ones that happened to us was I think it was just like an error in brewing. It was a Kolsch from a brewery that we had back in the day. The cans just went really hard and they were exploding in our little
blowing
cabinet.
up in.
But I think it was just like a bad batch, so it wasn't that from the
But
external.
I thought that was so interesting that was happening. I was like, what the, like...
They were confused too.
I feel like they were even doing something to the cans beside them, and like, but that could have been paranoia.
Yeah, I think
it was all coming
paranoia.
from the same brewer in the end, but I guess
Same batch, yeah.
But it was like it just everything started exploding. It was crazy. Like the pressure was so intense. Like the can thing popped at the top.
Yeah, it's like you
like
touch
you
it
tap
with your hand.
and then it blew up
Not
before
even
you could
tap.
get
I
it
think
to
I
the
went
sink.
to pick it out.
Yeah.
And like as soon as I touched it,
It blew up before you could get to the sink to clean it.
Yeah, and then the rest of them, I think I just cracked them. You could tell they had that like where it's like kind of thick foam coming out of it. Like it's sort of like a gelatinous a little bit, like an off vegetable. How it gets like that sticky shit on it.
Yeah.
Same type of thing. It's interesting. Yes, it's a weird
so
process.
Interesting, yeah. But I guess I'm wondering. That's why I was like, I wonder if some people are like, oh, it's fine, and then you can it.
Yeah.
When it's like maybe it did deserve more time, and that's something you need to look and observe. But I'm sure there's a lot of factors. Again, it's science, so yeah, it's fascinating.
I think that the mistake they probably made is put a beer too young out there. Like didn't wait for everything to settle down and just let's straight up put that into cans. And you have a little bit of yeast sitting in the bottom, and we'll be good.
Yeah.
I've had that share of beer exploding when I was a rep. Like all my beers were exploding in LCBOs.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
What'd you do?
I had to run with my car doing like every stops that I knew there was our beers, switch with fresh new ones and get the old ones that were exploding.
Yeah.
And they were popping in my car. Like the thing you said with the can popping like that. I was hearing them in my car just going like
oh my god.
that was
That's crazy.
I was putting like a flat of 2-4 over them so they don't like
Oh
overspill in
my
my car.
gosh.
So we ended up like with a half pallet of hand grenades. We were able to like just throw them in the parking,
Guys,
and
yeah,
we were
boom.
seeing them
Just throw them at people.
everywhere.
That's
Damn.
Yeah.
crazy. So there you go. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
so it can happen to anybody.
Yeah, and I think it's what you said though. There's this element of same what you said, money sleeping. So it's like you are looking at it and you're like, "Fucking man, like we're good to go here. Like it's fine, it'll be fine."
Yeah,
And you take a
let's
bit of a
just do it,
risk.
but-
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying though. It does. It's a tough time, and even if you compound that for these times with breweries when like they really can't afford to be. I mean, a lot of breweries are probably producing less.
It would be a really great time actually right now to make these like very lengthy beers, you know? Like
That's
it would
true.
be a great time to do it. It's like you focus on that. I also now that you're saying that, I didn't realize how much privilege there was in barrel programs until right now.
Yeah,
That's a privilege.
it is.
To be able to have all these
when the
beers sitting and
space-
hanging out, it's like one, you have space for it, two,
Like,
you got
to
the barrels
time,
for it, and
yeah,
then you just
barrels.
have time.
Yeah.
And time is definitely a commodity or a
Yeah.
privilege, you know, it's a currency. So
No, it really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's interesting as well. Even if you look at it, like breweries are probably producing less, but say all the hype is still. I feel like the hype has gone, almost increased through all this because I would have predicted at the beginning. I'm like, finally, more people are going to be able to access the hype beers. You
were
were
wrong.
saying I was wrong in some circumstances. Chris, you said before, you've had less trouble getting beers from Bas-Canada than you've ever had, but I've had more trouble getting Masoran beers than I've ever had. They're just going, and it's because of their online store, and they go at 10 a.m. and we're vampires, so I'm not up at 10 a.m. and I wasn't going to get up to go, and I was like, I check it when I got up, and then they were like, all the posts were already on Instagram sold out. Another day they did an online order thing. I think it was 30 minutes.
I could do it for you, you know, all you have to do is ask me.
Yeah, but it was because
I'll
I
just
have to
put
make
it
sure
in for you.
Stefan, if he has to approve it. We have our friend, the guy with
Oh, that's why.
the big YouTube channel. He has a car, so he likes IPAs. He's not like a huge craft beer guy, but I'm like, look, I got a fire brewery that does IPAs that you love. So like, could you pick them up for me, and I'll just send you the money, and I can like buy them online or whatever. Or he has to put the order through. I'll send him the money, and then he goes and gets them. And he was like, yeah, cool. So every time they came a new one, I didn't want to order them because they had strict pickup time. So I have to make sure he's cool, and he didn't get back to me in time. So
Oh yeah.
I really wanted their all together beer. Like I only managed to get Bellwood's one ordered
Yeah.
today, and I got the Charlevoix one, but that's the only ones I got my hands on so far. And I know a bunch, like Sir John did it, and I think Brewski did it. And I was talking to Guillaume today actually, and they had some packaging issues, unfortunately.
Oh no!
He
okay.
said, yeah, with that specific beer, which really sucks because that was the
fuck.
beer that's giving back to charity too. He said
Yeah.
it's oxidization. He said he's
Which one?
Brewski.
Brewski
Yeah.
or
yeah, they're all
yeah.
together beer. That sucks.
So he was just saying that they had it was a canning issue and it might be oxidization. And he said that the problem is he didn't want to risk his reputation over money for selling the beer at a time when they probably
no,
could
but
do
fair
with
enough.
the money.
Great. No, that's you have
And
to.
I thought
put
that was a
brand
very
first. Think of brand
noble.
first.
That was a great thing for him to do.
Yeah.
They still, even through all of this time,
Yeah.
they still like, no, we
Mm-hmm.
can't sell shit beer. But he said they got a way to, because I was like, maybe you could, give a couple cans free when people do an order or something. And he said he had I forgot what it was, like some sort of charity thing to give to people or whatever. Because you could give it and be like, look, they could be good, but they could be bad.
Yeah.
So like, you'd be like, all right,
Yeah.
cool, I'll try it out. Maybe I'll luck out and have a nice can.
Very true.
So I think that they're still new in canning in the scheme of things, and they don't have their own canner. They get the mobile canning, so I think they have less control.
True. They did have.
Whereas like
the-
Masorum have their own canning
Yeah.
line. So I think that makes
Yeah.
a bit of a difference. But I just thought that was super cool of them to do that. But
They're still protecting their brand, right? It would be
Yeah.
terrible actually to create a beer that wasn't good surrounding it, like supporting other people. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because then you would create this negative aspect and this negative attention surrounding what is supposed to just be a
positive thing.
charitable endeavor. And
really
like
giving money back
Yeah.
and then doing
So
all
it's a
that
good
stuff.
decision. It's a great business decision. But they're great. Those, like, Pub Brewski knows what they're doing. They're great business people.
Yeah, no, they're really, really
Yeah.
cool. Good dudes.
And are making, it was so interesting because you were
That's why-
talking about living in Quebec City and not having good beer and you have to go out. And I think Pub Brewski is so smart for creating like a craft beer hub in heavily touristy area.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
that
genius.
is so smart
Yeah.
of them. And they're just the only ones. So there you go. That's where you're gonna go and you're gonna get it, and it's not something you're used to.
Yeah.
And there's like,
Yeah,
'cause there's
you
already
need
craft
to own
coffee
it.
there. So Yeah.
Well, they've owned it out there, and they've just made some good stuff, and they're really doing well. I can't remember why we were even talking about this. Why? Oh, the Altogether beers.
Yeah, Altogether. But then you mentioned Quebec City and the fact that like you didn't have beers, and I was like, that does suck. And then I was like, wow, that's really the void that Pubbrewski filled in the end, which is so smart because you don't think about being if you're like in the heart of downtown Toronto, for example. Who are we getting craft beer from? You're not getting craft beer.
Not from a brewery.
No, it's going to be West End. You have to go a bit west.
Northern Maverick, maybe?
East. Yeah.
It's the only one, Bathurst and King, but
where's craft beer Toronto? But I mean a brewery. You're not getting
a
craft beer market, sorry.
Bay. No. What's the north south? Yeah, Bay, I think.
Bay, okay.
So
and that's still like they're not brewing, so.
No, that's the beer bars.
Yeah, beer bar.
Yeah, so it is kind of different. So I guess that's it's an interesting time for that. And it kind of sucks for them as well because they're not in a residential neighborhood at all. So people have to go there specifically, put their order in when they drop the cans. But they're very sought after because their beers are exceptional. Yeah. So I think they're probably going to be doing okay. Yeah,
they should be doing okay. And they're really, when we were talking about pivoting earlier, they're one of those people who immediately, like, they had food in these, like, freeze-dry packages or something. Yeah. It's like crazy. They're really on top of it. I
saw that.
No. Yeah, and they kept their kitchen staff employed.
Yeah, he said he only...
Yeah, speaking of that...
Yes, tell us.
Like, we have a restaurant here downtown in Hull, which is, like, right across the bridge from Ottawa. Like, he has a small kitchen, and he kept open, and he's doing orders for pickup. So last week, me and my girlfriend, we ordered, like, this crazy mac and cheese with brisket and a poke bowl. Ew. For really good prices, like better than restaurant prices, and he has 3 taps with like very good craft beers, and you show up with your mason jar, and he just fills it up for you. Okay. He charges like for a mason jar, and it's crazy. Like I got like like a crazy Russian Imperial Stout from I don't know the brewery out there. Like I think it's in Europe, like the brewery. And it's crazy. Like it took me 3 days to drink my mason jar. How insane that intro that was. But like having this, my 2 meals and my mason jar filled with beers, but he's also offering like wines, natural wines that you can just like order by the glass, and he just pours it in your mason jar.
I love that.
That's so sick.
That's so cool.
Yeah. That's
very
cool.
Smart.
I didn't know that was legal in Quebec. So that's the Quebec side, right?
Yeah, I don't know how legal is that.
Okay. So let's not say which restaurant.
So we won't talk about it, but that's very cool.
Yeah. But everyone knows what's up. But I don't know how legal it is, but I think he doesn't really care about it, which I think it's in those times, worst case scenario, you'll get a fine out of it. But if you made money and a name for yourself, I think it's worth the risk at some point.
I agree.
Yeah, just to stay open and keep it going after this. It's like it's such a crazy time. I guess it's like it seems like it's slowly changing now, and like different places are opening. I don't know how wise that is. I saw that Georgia, like the state of Georgia, opened. Speaking of them, because they were drinking their beers, they I don't know how they could prove it because you wouldn't test it, but they said they got 1,000 new cases in 24 hours after opening the state up again. Like you wouldn't get new cases because it takes a bunch of time to get the symptoms, but like
it takes 3 days.
Yeah, so I mean
3 days to get the test.
Even that too. So I don't know how they would have determined that, but like that's not a good sign. I know that they're opening schools here in like a week or two, which is
our friends going back to
but
teaching.
not in Montreal.
No,
Montreal's May 19th, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt from Vox and Hops was telling us.
Because he's an educator, so he has to go back. Yeah. So he said May 19th.
So I don't know how he feels about it. He seemed pretty chill, but he was drunk when I spoke to him. So
he wasn't that chill, actually. He was like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay, you remember. Because I was also drunk.
You were drunk, but I wasn't. He was just like, I don't know if that's the greatest, but sure. Okay,
but he doesn't have a choice because he has
a job,
doesn't have a choice.
Right? It's a job that's there for you. So if you don't take it, you're just leaving the job, right? You're forfeiting positions. So.
When do you start your new job? Have you got some time?
Like brewery is not open. We're supposed to open in 2 weeks, but we can't open. So we'll basically they have 2 beers in can, like going in cans in the upcoming weeks. I can't say when, but it's coming. Okay. And I'll be doing my first ever shift with them on canning day, and then after that on the release. which should be in about 2 weeks. But again, we need to wait on permits and all that. It's still in a nebulous state of what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy to go back to work. Not just go back to work, but go back to beer in general. Right. It feels like it's fun here at home. I really enjoy it. And for me, it's always been like family first. And then after that, job is like third. Middle, I always have beer. So now job is going to be beer. Family is going to be first. It's always first for me. So I'm going to miss being a dad at home, I think. But I'm going to try to take as much time as possible when I will be working, like on the weekends, just doing 100% dad stuff with my little daughter at the same time.
That's so cute.
That's dope, man. I like hearing that. I'm excited to keep us posted on everything that's happening with the new brewery. I love that. That's really, really cool.
Oh yeah, you'll hear about it because I want you guys to try it out.
Yeah, I'm keen.
Don't want to spoil anything, but they have some haze.
Oh, there you go. So you need to say. Chris. They got haze.
They're not messing around.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's sick. What?
There's a demand for it, so.
Yeah, I'm here for it. It's what I live for. It's what we do. That's all we're about. What do you guys have coming up on Hops and Bros? As far as like, are you guys working on anything new and exciting or different, or anything you want people to know about?
We're working on a series of videos, and like mostly, again, we're talking learning, but we want to dive deeper into classic beers. So we already have a concept laid out. We should release this new concept in about 2 weeks. It's going to be like a 2-part series on. We're talking Guinness right now. It's Scoop, but just literally sit down and talk about Guinness from history to how it evolved, but also marketing-wise, how they are affecting the market since the beginning of times, and also how it impacted brewing in general. With different technologies that they're employing, and just overall,
that's cool.
Guinness as a key part in our discovery of beer in general. So we want to reflect that with a special series on it, and we'll see how it turns out. If we have good feedback around it, then we're talking about going maybe Labatt 50, try Heineken, try big
Classic
macro beers that wouldn't, like, craft beer wouldn't be there without them. So we might need, just understanding this beast will help us understanding everything else. So that's what we've been working on lately. After that, we're just trying to stay sane and find new ideas. We're revisiting older videos because now when we look at like craft beer 101s we did 3 years ago, we weren't as knowledgeable about the subject as we are now, so we're kind of like jumping back into those videos.
So like 102s,
but
like you would
also,
do some 102s,
or 201s.
Yeah, trying to go like.
Yeah, I was like, what happens in school? Who knows? It's been so long.
Yeah, we're calling them 102s because we're just stupid about it, and we're making it this way. But you know how YouTube works, so if like you just name it pretty much the same thing, you try to kind of like rank it up before the other one, but I still get a lot of people from Pilsner 101, which was 2 years ago, commenting and like asking for questions. So it's fantastic how just this much content out there creates a good avenue to get conversations around a subject that matters to us and bring new people in at the same time. Like I had people from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You know that guy that like just loves Pilsners? And he always talks about it like a running gag. It's like one of the girls' boyfriend. And she found our video because of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Wow.
The link is very far. But like the guy was talking about Pilsner. She was like, what's a Pilsner? And then boom, our video showed up.
There you go.
And watched it. And I was like, that's far, but I just recently catch up on the last season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and that guy shows up again, and he's talking about Pilsners. I'm like, damn, that's that guy that
brought the
giving us
to
that's
watch
so cool.
our videos. Very cool.
I love that random connection that you can kind of determine through YouTube from the comments, like how people found you and stuff like that. It's super fascinating, particularly with beer. When it's even cooler when it's like random as hell.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
And meeting people too is very fun. Like we met Alex from Due to Breja. He has like a Brazilian YouTube channel out there, like 30,000 subscribers, something like that. It's huge. And he met us through YouTube, and now like we've been doing, I think we're 4 collabs with him, like collab videos. I was able to send beers from Canada to Brazil to him so he can do a video.
Yeah. You sent him your beer. You sent him one of your beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets through.
Yeah, sorry?
I would say sometimes it gets through. Sometimes they block that shit, but sometimes it makes it.
Oh, no. I sent beer to Brazil, and what I wrote on the paper, I said that it was soda and chocolate.
That's a good one.
Hey, like in Brazil, they really need to have our Sprite or our version of Coca-Cola. I must send it to this man.
The laws are very weird over there surrounding beers. So for him getting like very up forward beers, it's different. They don't have the same access as we do here to good ingredients.
Right.
So it's a very different species over there, and not like the scene is not as prominent as we have here. But when you look at it, it's huge. They have way bigger population than us, and they have access to so much tropical fruits and amazing aromas over there that I think it's going to be one very nice scene to keep an eye on it. And we did a video on Katerina Sours, which is the first official style from Brazil, and it's a very cool take on kind of like a Berliner Weiss, but with stronger ABV. Like they have something very cool coming up in Brazil, and I think
I was asking someone about that style like today or yesterday. I thought it was like a specific fruit or something, but it's not. It's a Brazilian style.
Yeah. So basically, it's a Berliner Weiss with higher ABV, but also Berliner Weiss. You don't need to put fruit in it. It's basically just like a sour wheat beer. But Katerina Sours, the forefront of the beer is the fruit that you showcase in it. The reason why it's called Katerina is the region where it comes from. So it's kind of like a neighborhood, a region of Brazil, and that's where it comes from. It's Santa Catarina, I think. I actually nailed it. Yeah, it's Santa Catarina. And what he said is that people were used to order Weiss beer, like just white beers from Germany in beer bars, but suddenly Berliner Weiss started showing up in bars, but people were ordering that Weiss, but it was sour, and they were kind of like fussed a little bit about it and not knowing what was going on, so they decided to just create their own with higher ABV with another name, so you can mostly know that it's sour because it's called Katerina Sour at the same time. So they have something very cool, and Brazilian knows how to party like very hard.
I can see that based on festivals, the big parties.
Yeah, they go in. Yeah, that's really good. I'm really glad you brought that up because I forgot where it was. Someone on YouTube or somewhere on social, someone mentioned it, and I was like,
you should ask Patty.
I thought about it. Like, should I ask someone? I asked the person, and I don't think they responded. But that's a fantastic answer.
They actually did one.
Oh, Patty did?
The Graviola, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Mary-Eve, hello.
Oh, hello.
Your wife is
is in the chat.
Oh.
She's loving it. That's cute.
Yeah, she's loving it. Yeah, I think she's like, if she's watching, then she's waiting for me to go into the jacuzzi. But I know that she knows that.
Oh, are we keeping you from the jacuzzi? Sorry.
No. I booked my whole evening doing the podcast. Jacuzzi can wait. It's just a body of water sitting outside. So and I actually prefer to go in the jacuzzi later at night because I can go in there naked.
Oh, that's true, and drunk.
Yeah, but
Isn't
I'm
that
not
the
drunk.
best type of jacuzzi?
Like, I'm not drinking
Yet.
fast enough to be drunk.
Yeah,
There you
no,
go.
we're drinking super slow. I just
Oh,
can't
not
drink
me. I
this.
finished all my beers.
You're gonna have more.
Oh yeah.
I
give me
sorry,
some
I
more
don't.
over
I
here.
didn't even mean to be like. Which
You're
one
so
do you want?
stingy.
I just like I can't drink this too much. Like it's
I
nice. but
really
like,
enjoy it.
I'm gonna have to
Oh, may I
sip
have that
this.
glass, please?
Yeah, that was the bourbon one.
I love that you have a jacuzzi going. These are the benefits of having a house.
Oh yeah,
Right?
we got
This is so
that
much.
last
Thank you.
year before Marie-Ève, before we had the baby.
She said, "J'ai déjà été dans la jacuzzi." Oh, so she's like on her phone then, because she's already in the jacuzzi.
There's already been.
Have you told her how fantastic
She
her
went there
role
alone.
was in the? I think my favorite of her role was in the glitter
the
beer.
washroom. Can you keep talking?
The glitter
Oh,
beer
the
video.
glitter beer video,
I just
yeah.
thought she just killed the glitter beer video. It was so good. I love that video so much. By the way, it was just so great. You guys just like killed it. It was like my
We have
favorite.
so much
But
fun doing that.
Marie-Ève did so well in that. I don't know. It was just like fun. It was just really, really fun. I very much enjoyed her.
That
your
was the
collaboration.
mindset. I always try to put her in the videos.
You
She's
should
very.
put her more. Hey, Marie-Ève, you gotta get in
that's
there.
not
You
too-
gotta get in more. You know, one of two. Every other second one.
I guess you could show up down here on the live, but I don't know if she's.
Hey, she's warm in a
probably already in
jacuzzi. That means baby's
So
sleeping
maybe
now.
she. Oh yeah, she's sleeping. She's been sleeping for 2 hours now, so hopefully she's gonna stay asleep tonight.
Do
Because
they
she
sleep
kept
through
us
the
awake
nights?
very.
I have zero reference. I have no idea what the babies are like. Do they sleep through the night now at this age, or what's the deal?
She used to. Now she doesn't, but she used to.
Mm.
So she woke us up at 2 a.m. Like we had rough nights. The last 3 ones were really rough, but overall she's now waking up at like 5:30, 6, something like that.
Okay.
So for me, I just wake up and take care of her until Marie-Ève comes back and do the breakfast part, so I can get my coffee and my orange juice and get my day starting at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's you get used to it, I guess. Like it's like working, right? So if the baby is awake, then you definitely something you need to do to make it stop crying at
Make
that
it stop
point.
crying.
Make it. I like
And
it.
I like it, not her. Okay, I'm gonna use a.
You use washroom side. The washroom time. If you need to go to the bathroom, you always have to have like.
Oh no, I'm good.
You good?
Oh no, I'm good.
You're safe. I always have this.
I just don't need to stand up. If I stand up, then pee is gonna flow out.
That's how it goes, right? That's the only problem with these beer podcasts, because you're always drinking beer, and then on top of that, water. And you just gotta go.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta go.
It's the hard life, man. The hard life. How's the life doing? I don't see anything
We've had
except
this-
like.
Oh, because you're not seeing it. We've had the view has been pretty low tonight. I guess I people know. I thought we promote this pretty regularly. That we do tell people every Friday that we're doing it. Oh, now it's just gone up. This is the highest it's been all night. We got 6 people at once. The first time we ever did it, I think we had like we had something similar. We had less. It was less than 10, but it's like YouTube. We don't have the largest following on YouTube, in comparison to other stuff. Ryan Patterson, what up,
But
man?
it's good.
What up? What up? What up? So it's nice when people. I like the way this system works because I can bring up the comments, so it makes it more interactive.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if people at first were going to like be annoyed by, you and I are talking, or even if it was just Tiff and I before we started having guests and then talking about the comments. But people were saying that they enjoyed it, so I thought that was kind of cool. Just like a nice way to do it. Chris,
You get
Lily says hi.
interactions. That's what you want.
Yes, exactly. Lily says hi,
Yeah.
Chris. Marie-Ève says Lily.
Lily?
Yeah.
Salut.
Is that the baby? Or is that your nephew?
Yeah, no, it's my little niece.
I've seen her.
Yeah, that's my niece.
Was she the one that was in the video that time?
Yeah, but we did a video on lactose, I think,
That's what it was.
and actually drank a glass of milk with her on the video.
You
That was
should-
actually very fun.
No, I enjoyed that one just because it was
She
about
wants,
lactose.
she wants to go on YouTube. That's I guess all the kids wants to go on YouTube, but she wants to do YouTube.
How old is she?
That's that you put me right on the spot.
Yeah,
She's
ooh,
watching.
in
She's
trouble.
gonna be 11 this summer, so she's 10 right now.
She's 10. Okay.
Yeah, she's 10. going to high school next year. I'm shocked. But yeah, she has the same age as me and Marie's relationship.
Jeez, that's so crazy. So y'all got together when she was born. That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The kids
crazy
are growing
times.
up. So many kids. Ashen says, just chilling and listening. What up, yo? No, this is a nice way to do it. I like these. I like these live things. They're becoming. We never did a lot of them, and this was just more like for the hell of it, like we were saying. Like it wasn't even really. It's not about. That's why I don't really care so much about the live, because it's like a secondary thing to the audio is what's important here. And it was more like, well, if we can just do it, we'll make it look good because we have all the equipment. And then like you're actually the perfect person for us to talk to on this, because you're also a fellow YouTuber who has all the equipment. You've got the proper cameras, you got the microphones and everything that makes everything look and sound good. And because the one thing I don't always like is when when you listen to a podcast and you can hear the phone voice or the Skype voice, and it's not like I don't want to curse it, but yours have been fantastic. Like the internet connection has been really good. With Nate, it was a little choppy.
Sure, it's been so good.
Right? Like you have it, like listening to you, and I know you've got a proper mic plugged in, so it makes it sound better. And you're still going to record this separately, but I think the audio by itself is going to be just fine.
I hope so. That's the one thing that stressed me out the most. I'm a perfectionist, right? So even just doing that, I know that I wanted to get like the right camera for it. Like I could have went out there and bought like thousands of dollars of equipment just to do one live with you, because I like doing it and I love experimenting with it too at the same time. Like I had to put my brain out there and find a proper solution to get a better connection. Definitely internet is like the weakest link in live.
It really
I think,
man.
So, because it's demanding. If you don't have a reliable connection, then you're screwed.
100%. And like this makes all the difference though. Mary Ev says, by the way, Lily is 11 and she says she's laughing. Lily Ree. So I guess it means she's laughing, right? So you're in trouble.
Oh, damn.
Like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm in trouble now.
And Ryan is saying need separate audio and a proper mic. I agree. So basically, like Chris has a mic. I've got our typical. Can I list it? Oh, it's caught on this. We've got the Zoom mic here, but it's plugged into the computer, so it's not, and you can't record at the same time. So this, and you've got the Zoom as well, right? Is that what you're talking?
This is not sponsored by.
No, we need to be sponsored by Zoom. Zoom, if you want to sponsor Hops and Bros and BAOS, please, please sponsor us. But when you come back over, babe, can you bring the huge on hops, just to have the huge on hops in a glass. The audio on this one, so because I would normally, when Tiff and I were doing it, we were just going live on the Mac audio and recording our separate audio on the microphone here. But since I knew you could plug it in here, and the way that this software works, since we're talking nerd stuff, this software generates a video, it auto posts to YouTube, but it also it saves that video to my hard drive, so then I can rip the audio from there. And I did that last week with Nate and my brother. For people who don't know, we do music. So my brother and I moved to Canada because of that. So my brother, luckily, is an audio engineer. So thank you, cutie. He is able to make this sound phenomenal, which is a very expensive and complicated process, particularly for, like, you don't need to do it for the videos. We don't do it for any of that. But for him to be able to do that for our audio, and I was a little worried because there was, like, when we were doing the episode, there's no hiss, there's no background noise, there's nothing. But when I listened to the video, there was like a slight hiss. I was like, oh man, is that like a connection or something? But when he puts his plugins on there, it's like perfect. So now this one I'm excited because I'm not expecting everybody to have every guest that we have on. Not everyone. I feel like most people won't have what you have. You're an exception to that.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
Because you're a tech guy, right?
I'm doing my best.
Right?
Yeah, my phone nearly died. Now I'm on a battery power pack.
You're on the pack.
We'll wrap up shortly. I just want to I'm going to bust out some haze. I need some haze.
Oh, no. I'm good for another 2 hours.
He's like, oh no, I'm going till midnight.
Like, I'm not going anywhere.
What about Marie-Eve and the hot tub, okay? There's a jacuzzi there waiting for you.
She already took it, so I'm done for tonight.
Oh, she's gone. Ryan says you need the
I
Zoom.
wish I had that beer.
Which one?
that Ashton is speaking about. The
Yes,
So Ashton says
more
sipping
than.
on more than the mango pale ale with Merit and Ren. I wish we had gotten the opportunity to drink that
Oh,
beer.
Yeah.
I wish I was able to try this one. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been. I heard good things.
By
Did
the
Nate
way,
have it? I feel like Nate got it.
yeah, Nate did a merit order, so he probably did. This beer is now available in Quebec. April 23rd, it came out. It's just such a 6.6%, just hazy IPA. It's fantastic. Noah said, which I thought was interesting, that it fits nicely into the Quebec market because there's not a shit ton of other beers like this. There's a lot of haze here, of course, but this one kind of stands out. It's not the same as others, which I quite appreciate.
Yeah. I tried it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Was it in
I had a
Ottawa?
friend who was in New Brunswick that brought back some Trailway, and that really changed my. That didn't change my mind. I know that was good beer out there, but having to try it, it really showcased that. Like, I knew it was something good, and them being in Quebec, then good for them. Good on them. Hopefully, it's gonna stay fresh on the shelves.
That's the
I
one
don't know.
concern.
That's a big issue. I know collective arts. It's something that's I don't know if I should be naming, but yeah. If you look through dates, sometimes you find beers that are been out there since June. For AZ IPAs, it's not optimal, and I think like they're flooding the shelves like everywhere. You have access to different beers, and having them coming from another market, it's a hard thing. There's still, we were talking about barriers between Anglophones and Francophones from you being in Montreal or people coming from Toronto. I feel you have the same thing consumer-wise in Quebec. People are still very, very tied to their own breweries, even though it's fantastic stuff coming from outside.
Yes.
They are still reluctant.
It's a tough one. Reluctant, yes.
Reluctant to buy those beers because they have an Anglophone background to it, and it's coming from another region. There's still that.
You think that's a real thing?
Kind of like
I did not know that. That's very interesting. Where you're like, I should purchase Quebec beers and Quebec beers only.
I feel like that's I always.
I am in this. I should buy from Canada. I'm not gonna lie. That is a thing. So
yeah, I'm definitely Canada focused.
I don't feel as attached to a province as I do as a country, for example. So I guess I'm
we're
just
all
like, as long as it's Canadian,
places.
I don't care. I want to buy Canadian as much as possible.
I say food. I would rather food be closer to home.
Oh, for sure. Like when it comes to vegetables, fruits, all that stuff.
Particularly Montreal,
eggs,
even
all,
beyond Quebec.
Yeah.
But like for something like beer, I mean clearly. There's no way for any of us to get any more American than European beer now anyway. So it is what it is.
That's off the table.
Unless it's through the SAQ or something that's already come through. But something like this, like Trailway stuff, like this is not that far away. As long as they keep it fresh, it's all about the distributor. I don't want to, I mean, if you're in beer in Quebec, you know the only distributor really who is getting this stuff out there. A friend who works for another brewery told me, because I had problems, so that Collective, not called, because I love Collective, and we're friends with some of the people there, and we know the folks, and I know you know them too. You've been to the festivals and stuff. They, basically, are going through these guys. I had a can of Life in the Clouds that was from June or July last year, like a couple weeks ago. I wasn't, it didn't really hold up that well. It was okay. But another dude, like I said, a friend who works for a brewery who also are distributed by the same company said that I think there was an error because this other brewery who's from here had a similar problem. Was given one of their beers from the same time. I think it was packaged June or July, and I have it now. And apparently it was just an error from the brewery. The distributor took the new batch instead of the old batch, and sent that out for distribution. So there's a whole bunch of older stuff now in rotation, which wasn't supposed to be there. So I don't know if that's completely accurate, but that's what I was told. I imagine that's probably what happened to Collective as well. So I hope it doesn't happen to Trailway. And Ryan Patterson saying Trailway heard amazing things. I am such a fanboy of these guys.
He is such a fanboy.
Such
he
a
is
fanboy.
loving it.
I love it. I don't know. I just like I love their designs. All the beers have been fantastic. Particularly, you know what's more interesting? What's the low ABV ones? I had their pale. They have an Australian pale ale. They called it. I think it's just Aussie hops. 4.8%. It's called Dunder, and it's phenomenal. Like it's just so much flavor. It's that creamy haze. It's just exactly. You could just drink that stuff all night. Even this one, the 6.6. It's a little, slightly more opaque than the milky haze, but it's sort of just. And this was canned April 13th. But then again, I got this directly from the brewery, so it was a different situation. I didn't go through the system. But like by the time if this was canned,
it's probably
April,
the same batch.
I think it's the same batch. So that's April 13th. This came out April 23rd, so that's 10 days between canning and then distributing. So if you bought it right now, it'd still only be not even 3 weeks old. So I mean,
which is perfect.
Which is pretty good. So it's more just like as long as the distributor does the right thing, and you know what? The problem is it's a Montreal-based distributor, and I imagine for most of Quebec it's how it works. So it's got to spread out from there, and it's coming from all the way out east, all the way to Montreal, and then probably going back to like Gaspé or something. So it almost makes no sense to a degree. So I hope that they're able to, maximize
stupid laws.
It's so dumb.
Stupid laws.
The laws are so dumb, but it is cool to have like a new brewery. I think it's like exciting. At the same token, though, it's the time, and we've talked about this at length, but like I think Quebec now this is the best time for. I personally have enjoyed beer in Quebec now more than I ever have. I think this is insane amounts of phenomenal beer. It has always been phenomenal beer here, but it's always been in one style or one kind of thing, one lane. Now there's like haze and there's milkshake. There's the trendy shit that wasn't around before, and there's so many breweries.
And then the common styles that they're already known for to be making really well.
Exactly, the barrel-aged sours, the barrel-aged... anything barrel-aged. The Saison, the farmhouse here is exceptional. Even like though here they were late on the lagers. Now the lagers are getting really good. And
that's probably what makes Quebec like the most interesting province then, because you would have already perfected in this way these traditional styles.
Yep.
And now you're coming through and tackling the trendy styles. So now you get both. Yeah. Like, you could come here and go to Pub Brewski and get, like, crazy haze, go to Masora and get crazy haze, go to vice versa then and get amazing Saisons and get, like, you can really have, like, this whole
pick Caribou in the
interesting,
way, DCL, get this, that,
go to DCL, which is, like, one of the best brewers in Canada.
Like, it's just Montreal.
That's very cool, and that's just Montreal. That's not even talking about all of Quebec, so that's really cool that that's a thing. Like, we're very privileged, I think, for that.
Yes, and I feel like now that was the circle's kind of being completed now. Because my problem was I was bitched about
Craig was complaining.
I was complaining for the longest time. Like, we have no haze here. It drove me crazy. I hated it. I couldn't stand going out in Montreal. And I said that a lot. I fucking hated it. Because I could never drink what I wanted. And now, there's so many places. Like, to be fair, I don't know if Brewski have their beers on at... vice versa, like or Brouhaha.
So you have to go around a bit.
So you got to kind of jump around.
You can do that,
and that's all I really want. Because now I'm like, what vibe do you want tonight? Do you want? Because if you go to Brewski, you can get everything.
Yeah,
they have everything. They have brown ales. They have like triple Belgian
triples.
They have like haze. They have the whole range. Mm-hmm. Whereas like somebody like Masorum is like Vermont and blah blah blah. So do you have things like that in I guess Gatineau's a lot smaller though. You probably don't have the same variety of stuff.
We have Bas-Canada. We have Bas-Canada.
That's a dub right there.
I don't know if you guys heard about them.
No, I haven't. Tell me more.
They're a new. They're a new brewery. They just celebrated their second anniversary.
Oh well, good luck.
They rank pretty good.
I hope they do well.
They do well.
Strange name.
But we recently got a new brewery opened up right like across the park where I am. They don't brew on location right now because of regulation with the city. They need to change permits and city limits and whatsoever. Like there's a lot of laws going through.
What are they called?
They're canning with who they are brewing right now, and it's like it's very good. I know the brewer personally, so very exciting about what's coming up. They have a fantastic kind of like on site. They're just right on the river that overlook the Parliament right now, but like from afar, you're not rock throwing distance of Parliament, but you're rock throwing distance from Ottawa. So which is
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We've always been joking about the fact that we're on the right side of the bridge. But now that we're getting more brews, I think that it's a cool thing to kind of like brag about it. But it's growing a little bit faster over the last 3 years compared to what it was stuck to 5 years ago. And the market is dictating that shift into perception, but also into what breweries are pushing. I know a lot of people complain about it, like the fact that AZ IPAs are kind of like taking over. It's the only thing you're drinking and whatsoever. In my opinion, like I think it's fantastic. It's shifted IPAs to being AZ. Everyone's standard in IPAs is being AZ. But also what it happened is that it's bringing people that were not drinking beer to drink beer now. So we're getting new people in beer that were probably maybe just drinking wines or cocktails or whatever. They were not into that at all before AZ IPAs, fruity IPAs coming out, which I think is fantastic. And best example is my girlfriend. It's like a running joke with us, but like when we went to Florida, we went to Civil Society. I'm always talking about them because I just love what they're doing.
Was the vlog, right?
But yeah. So I went there. I took like their lager because they never did the lager, so I tried the lager. But I was trying all different beers they were doing. But my girlfriend was knocking back triple IPAs in my bag. That like, I want the triple, the triple. Like she wants the big AZ stuff because that's what she likes. And slowly,
I'm right with her.
Speaking like yesterday, she was drinking out of. We had Bas-Canada, the Elf lager that they did, which is phenomenal. But yeah, she took a full glass of it because she now enjoys Elf lager, which a year ago wouldn't have been the same story. But now, her having access to one style of beer, saying that's she see herself in one style. Now she wants to try the other ones and see what she could enjoy in the future. And I think that's key. That's what beer is all about. When I first drank my Pêche Martel when I was like 17 years old, I was blown away by the aromas and the flavors I was able to find. So I was like, so beer can be anything I want then. Right. And I think that's the beauty of beer in general.
So I love that you said that, and I have like not exactly the same trajectory as Marie-Ève, but the whole concept of it's so interesting that you have these styles and that's what gets you in and you get these styles, right? You stick to these styles, but it opens you up to the world of beer in general. Like when I found that beer would be delicious and tasty was West Voltarian 12.
Yes,
that we were in that small, and that's why I still have a place in my heart for these beers, no matter what. Because when we were in that little bar in Toronto, what's the name of that bar?
Sarah's Cafe.
Sarah's Cafe. They were like
$40 a bottle.
$40 a bottle, but I was like, oh my gosh,
this
like,
is 2011.
What is going on with these beers?
This is 2011.
I'm like, beer does stuff like this. I just didn't know, you know. But I'm from Jamaican descent. We drank Heinekens the other time, and like when we weren't drinking Heinekens, you have a Red Stripe or Guinness. These are the only three that you're really drinking, you know.
Yeah. But isn't Jamaica known for like, is it the Negro Modelo or something like that?
That's Mexico.
It's like a dark lager.
They have
Dragon
Dragon Stout.
They do Dragon Stout, and that's huge.
Yeah, okay.
Dragon Stout is local.
Yeah.
Red Stripe is local, same brewery.
Red Stripe has like a Hollywood sign in Montego Bay. Like you could be driving
huge,
by, and you'll see this huge like Red Stripe sign. It's hilarious.
And then the others Heineken and Guinness, which makes no sense whatsoever.
I don't know why, but for some reason, like Germany came through and like
Guinness has a very good market in like in southern parts of the world. Like in Africa, they're huge.
Who else? Sorry,
and
Guinness.
Okay.
Yeah. They have the dry, like a dry version. Oh no, the
foreign export stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they had in Jamaica. I actually never had that before, and apparently there's when I checked in on Untappd, we went to Rick's Cafe in the Grill if anyone's been out there, and they had it, and I never had that shit because it's 7%. All the other beers are like 4 to 5.
Yeah,
Dragon Stout and and for Guinness export, the foreign export. But when I checked in, there was like a Jamaican one, a Barbados one, a Bahamas one. Like every island has their own. I didn't know what the twists are.
That's so cool.
But it made me super curious to see like what are the other islands doing to
Yeah.
this foreign export stat that was kind of sticky and sweet and kind of boozy for 7.
I do. What I like is that, like, when you go to these places, everything that they have is different
Yeah, it's
from elsewhere.
fascinating.
So, like, if you go to, like, say, the U.S., if you're in North America, there's not going to be that many differences between anything for the most part, especially things that are franchised, for example. But in Jamaica, KFC, for example, is a completely different experience. Like, I would never eat KFC in North America ever. It's disgusting to me. But you have it in Jamaica, and it's like this ridiculously
right?
well-seasoned, amazing chicken, like that they're marinating and spending more time on. It's just so funny. Like, so I'm not surprised. Like, maybe in the end, when it came to the Guinness, even everyone's like, "Well, we have to have our own. It has to fit with the island, or it has to fit somehow." So they're doing something to make it just a little bit different to feel more local.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was it
Which
was
is cool.
definitely interesting to sort of see how that goes.
But that was a tangent from Meriev, which is that this is the one thing that you're saying. So she went like, I want these triple delicious, and that's what I went to, which I find very interesting. I was like, okay, cool. I went full boozy, and I think because I drink liquor, so that was one, right? So that like got me into
that's
like,
why you're
something
liking
I'm
this more than
comfortable
me.
with. Because I drink, I'll sit and I'll pour whiskey in a glass and drink whiskey in a glass. So this feels right to me.
Right.
I'll drink gin on ice, stuff like that. So I feel like these boozy beers got me in, and then I was like, okay, cool, and then I could start understanding the complexities of the beer and respecting that, and that got me to like, I'm surprised that I enjoy a Pilsner. I'm shocked that because to me a Pilsner is like such a beer
that tastes like beer,
that tastes like beer, and I would have never thought I wanted to drink a beer that just tastes like beer.
I feel like you drink everything though.
I drink everything now, but it took me a while. But this is started from
preferences.
2011 to now. It's 2020, right? So it's been a long time. But, like, it is fascinating to me because before, beer used to taste disgusting to me. There was no question about it. I was like, it's just this weird yellow thing that white guys love so much, and I'm just, like, not for it. Unless it's a Heineken, and that's, like, Jamaicans are drinking.
Right.
That was, like, my whole... Like, I sipped beers, but then in the end, I was sipping the wrong beers.
Right.
So, to me, a Pilsner was, like, the Molson, frickin' whatever the...
That's probably what you got given.
That's what I was given. So, like, to me, that's just so disgusting.
Tastes terrible.
Yeah, and then I didn't realize that Pilsners could taste fantastic. You know, so I love that she had that because it's interesting. You just need the one thing, which is why I'm for creative styles. All of this to say is why I always push creativity, because you can convert one person or many people, and that's how you grow the industry. The industry is still so small, and the only way that it will grow is that if we have inventive styles that grab new people and convert them into the cycle. You know, we need to get them in there. So I'm like, whatever you do, if you make a freaking milkshake that tastes like an ice cream cone that somebody's happy with, whatever gets them in so that they walk into another brewery and they feel comfortable, that's the point to me.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, 100% true with that.
Someone just commented here, they're saying, Samichlaus from Schloss Eggenberg. Oh, I think I've actually had that. Mm-hmm. The most outside of the box beer I've tried recently. So close to ice wine, it's fantastic.
Close to ice wine, interesting.
Yeah. Have you heard of them, Chris? It's called Schloss Eggenberg. Are you familiar with that brewery? It looks... if you see the words, it might be familiar. Just want to take a look at it. Interesting. Ice wine is pretty crazy. One thing that was interesting... Go on. Sorry, bro.
No. I was talking about that beer in Iceland that they make with sheep shit.
Sheep shit?
Have you heard about it? Yeah, it's smoked with sheep shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
I draw the line there, Chris. All right, that's where I'm drawing the line.
Sorry.
It's kind of familiar. Did you try it?
No, I wasn't able to try it, but I know it was available at Pit Caribou like maybe 2-3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Austrian, I just saw.
Must have been expensive. Oh, it's an Austrian brewery. Okay. Dope. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I recognize that label.
You've had
I think
that
I've had
label.
that one.
So you've seen the label.
100%.
Okay.
Because they have that at the LCBO. One of the things I was going to say, the side note, was that one thing is the most fascinating to me, that the style that converts the most people is fucking this shit.
Yes, and this is what I was thinking about it too.
Haze converts more non-beer drinkers than any other style. Arguably, I'm happy to hear other points of view, but from what I've seen, if I got someone, say Adriana, like Tiff's good friend,
We were
Where
in
were we?
we were in what's that spot
Was
in
it
New
New
York
York?
that has the best ramen of all time?
Oh, Momofuku.
So we're in Momofuku having ramen, which is just like anyone listening to this podcast, if you want to have the best ramen,
The best chain restaurant.
the best chain restaurant ramen, Momofuku, because it's not even that large.
There's a better
of
one
chain.
right here, but
But like Montreal, which is the name I can never identify, has the best ramen of all time.
yeah.
But Momofuku in New York, that has to be the best in New York.
Yeah.
They were serving, was it other half New England?
It was other half Green City IPA. And that was all they had. They had like 3 beers on tap, and one of them was other half. That's the best thing about New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got it. She didn't get it, but she looked at it. She was like, oh, why does it look like that?
Yeah, she's
I
like,
was
why is it
"No,
so like
try
thick?
And she's like, oh my God, wow, it's so fruity. And I was
Yeah.
like, exactly.
Yeah. But do you
So,
see
like-
what happens? So what happens is you have this person who's having ramen, living their life. This is why distribution matters and retailers and stuff like that matter. They have this beer once
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, this is juicy. This is interesting. So now they recognize the name Other Half. So you've gotten into their like psyche that way. So what happens when they go to another restaurant? They trust Other Half now, which is why they're going to get another beer from this same company. Or they'll even go so far if they actually end up in Other Half with someone who took them there, they're going to be like, I know it. I feel good about this.
Yeah.
And I feel good about this craft beer that people talk about. This is why I think it's so important. And this is why I said, like, it's so funny to me. Like, I didn't think so in the beginning, but I feel like New England's are gateway beers. Because they're so juicy that they get people interested in drinking beer in general. And then it just takes itself from there, right? It just opens you up from there.
Even if they're not like fire ones, because you can't always take people to say Masorum.
Yeah.
Because it might be
They're not always going to get Other
bit
Half
much.
or something like that.
And
right?
other half always have peel. You're probably better off taking them to maybe Brewski or something that have like a range of stuff from like a dry hop pilsner and the fruited sours and some amber ales as a backup and blah blah blah. They have a bit of a range and stuff, but I just find that specific beer. And that's why it's interesting for coming back to the original point was Mary Ann's drinking triple. You're saying triple IPAs is in like 10% fucking. And what did she typically drink before?
She likes wine. So in general,
She's a
she
wine
likes
drinker.
white wine, red wine,
Hey, I'm with you,
and
girl.
like it's not like a connoisseur thing that like she sips slowly on it and whatever. She just enjoy a good glass of wine while eating.
Okay.
But I'm always drinking beers, so she's always taking a sip out of my beers and always being disappointed at it tastes like beer. But when she started drinking those triple IPAs and whatsoever, the very hazy beers, she was like, I saw her brain kind of like dismantle and get built together into something else, another way to see beer in general. And it's a cool thing to see that happening, because it's probably what happened to me when I was 17 years old, when I started drinking beers, just being blown away by what's happening. And I can see that from her thing, but now she's like the biggest ace bro you can see now. Like,
She's just trading beers.
Bigger than C, is that
She's
possible?
in line. She's lining up for Bas-Canada, spending $600. Fuck.
she has friends lining up, like some of her girlfriends that were not into beer that much are buying 2/4 of Bas-Canada because
Are you
of
joking?
that.
Crazy. That's fucking
Are
crazy.
you for real?
Yeah,
Oh
100%.
my
That's
Like,
so cool.
When
That's crazy.
when I purchase Bas-Canada for myself, I usually get 2 cans for me and like 4 for her.
Wow.
Wow.
So she's a fiend.
That's
now.
how it works.
I remember, I want to say 2 years ago, the 3 of us went for beers at Pit Caribou because you guys were going to Italy.
Where was I?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I was bringing you the milk shark, the Neapolitan milk shark. And you guys took it and you drank it in Italy, which was super cool.
I remember that video. Yes,
And
yes,
when
yes.
we went
cute.
to Pit Caribou, I'm pretty sure she was drinking wine at the time. So that's very cool to hear that because I didn't know that. Hops and Bros. Do you know
Maxime Lafrance Bruchou says, Hops and Bros.
You know Maxime?
That's my coach.
And 3 devil signs. Is that devil signs? Is that right to call it?
Devil Hunt.
Yeah.
the-
That's the metal
The
sign.
rock on. That's cute. I love that. That's your coach. What, like your fitness coach?
Yeah, it's my girlfriend's brother.
Oh, Maxime's brother. Oh, hey, Maxime. You're the one doing CrossFit. Represent.
Yeah.
And then he says,
Yeah, represent.
You said biscuit or biscuits?
Biscuit or
with
biscuit.
a donut and some cookies.
Crispy.
You teaching them about the
If
crispy
you're having
boys?
if you're having cookies and donuts, you're really gonna have to work out tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
You can't
fuck. I
be
want a
fucking around
donut
with that.
actually.
Oh yeah.
I want a donut.
Tomorrow's gonna be a hard one. I can already tell you guys it's gonna be a hard one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one. These.
I love that you're doing that though. It's very cool. It's important.
No, it's beautiful.
It's gonna be a
balance it out.
crispy one.
Right? That's
So that's the thing about CrossFit. You never know if you're doing it right, but you're dying at the end. It's right. That's how
Okay,
it works.
Craig and I were actually talking about CrossFit the other day because, like, I just don't understand how they're not hurting themselves. You know, like, I was watching somebody the other day and they were just lifting. I've seen people get incredibly fit from it, but it's like, what do you go through in the beginning to make sure that you don't injure yourself? Because I watch people lifting crazy weights, doing, what's this called again?
like a clean and jerk type of thing.
Yeah. So there you go. Cookies, beer, and CrossFit. Okay, that's the new podcast. Maxime, you should start a podcast and call it Cookies, Beer, and CrossFit.
You guys just be working out whilst drinking.
Definitely do that.
But like I see that, and I'm like,
basically,
how are you protecting your body from hurt?
Like it's always built, or like you're building around yourself. Always, like you're building muscle, but also you're pacing yourself through it. Like the best way to excel at any sports in general is knowing your body, but also knowing your limits. You can apply that to pretty much everything in your life, but like one key thing is you leave your ego at the door. And I know that because I started doing that a year and a half ago, and I was like in not a very top shape. I was weighing 125 pounds and eating like shit, like only mornings and only evenings. I wasn't really doing sports and whatsoever. Starting doing that because I was becoming a dad and realizing that I need to maybe get my shit together.
Yeah.
And now a year and a half after that, like I'm 160 pounds, eating 3 to 4, 5 times a day.
Holy shit, that's a lot of times.
And I changed also my drinking habits at the same time just to implement that into my lifestyle. It didn't change my life to a point that it's only the only thing I'm doing, but you learn a lot from having good teachers. You need to put the techniques through it. And yes, I started with training bars instead of having the big heavy stuff, because yes, you can get seriously injured if you don't work properly.
Yeah.
But
like
also you don't move forward if you don't challenge yourself at the same time. And I think that's what's working with CrossFit to some point, is that you don't do that alone usually. So you're with a group of people, and if you have a workout that's 25 to 30 minutes nonstop, then I did workouts that I was the only one left doing my reps, and I had 5 people around me cheering up and counting every single reps as you're dying in front of them. And just at the end you feel like shit, but like 15 minutes later you're up on your feet and ready to go back home and just go on with your day.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun community aspect though, which I like.
I love it. No, that's brilliant. We haven't gone this long before. The camera battery started flashing, and if that does, I don't know if it kills the live. It cuts our live. I think it might cut the live. So last thing, Chris, man, this is great.
This
2
is
hours.
Great.
2 hours.
We should just do this every single week.
Right? I was just gonna say we should do this more often. Where can everybody follow Hops and Bros online?
At Hops and Bros on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's where we're at. We're sharing fantastic pictures on Instagram, videos every Thursdays. We're waiting on your suggestion. We're accepting all students if you want to jump into beer 101s, craft beer 101s, whatever you want to call them. Learn about beer, share the love for beer. That's where we're at.
That's amazing, bro. I appreciate it. Stick around I'm going to wrap up the audio part, and then we're going to do the best beard in the game.
It's the best beard in the craft beer industry for sure. Yeah, it's just
repping it.
repping. It's
Rep
just like
heavy.
how does it keep growing so long and just like doing its thing? It's just wow.
I know.
It's fascinating. It's very Santa.
I know. I don't
It's
want to
craft
scare
beer
you guys,
Santa.
but I think it might be leaving my face.
Oh
Whoa.
gosh, let's not talk about that. That's weird.
You
What
need
would
to
you even
relax.
look like?
Yeah.
You need to
You
relax.
look 11. You can't do that.
I know.
Right? Fuck. All right, let's wrap this
Yeah.
up. Chris, thank you so much, guys. Go follow Chris. If you enjoyed the episode, guys, smash the thumbs up. Hit subscribe below. Hit the notification bell.
Ding.
So you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast. And check out the long form audio so you can hear very attractive gentlemen like Uncle Chris talk about craft beer. Make sure you give us a 5-star review and a rating. It helps us a ton. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Get it in ya.
Get it in ya.
Hold it up, Chris. Hold it up. Let it.
Yeah. For a
right.
long time, when I'm trying to catch me away.
All right, so we're gonna do the thumbnail.
Photo, yeah.
It's gonna do all that. We can trim it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
I'm stopping the audio.
Perfect. Thank
Yo,
you.
the Zoom never did that. The Zoom changed tracks, and now it's track 04 instead of track 03.
Oh shit. Okay.
Damn.
So you gave us so much
Hold that
time.
too. Sorry.
Because it's too.
Hold two.
Yeah, because it's too big. Okay, I'm stopping the audio now.
Okay.
Perfect.
So hold.
Oh, everyone online can still see us, right?
Everyone live
Hey,
can still see
live.
us. Sorry,
Just
guys. We have
enjoy
to take
this.
the
This is
thumbnail.
for the photo.
I think this
Thank
many
you so
people
much for
left.
joining us.
Here we go. Look at the camera at the top. Yeah, yeah. All right, how's that? That's good.
And if you want, I can take a few selfies on my end.
Yeah, definitely take.
But take a picture of your beer.
That's
or
good,
something
actually.
Like that too. Yeah,
See,
that's
this is
great.
so much better. Then we can just cut that. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
And then take a picture of the beer and send us that over.
Guys, thank you so much for watching on our
Yes.
live.
Even when we hang up
Chris,
on
are
the
you taking
live,
a photo? Can you
you
just
go.
give me a second? My goodness, can I? Okay. Chris, I'm not prepared. What's with this
Sorry.
candid photography?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm taking a picture of my can.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Well,
Because
now
he
we're
can't
in
see
it.
us. He's on Skype. It's not the same.
Oh, but he can see Craig, us, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he's seeing us.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm
You're right.
all
You're
there.
right.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
All right, Chris, keep on the line anyway because we can still talk in here. Guys, live, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you guys.
We will see you next Friday.
We'll be back every Friday, 8 p.m. We do this.
Until
Next
the
week-
apocalypse ends.
Until the apocalypse ends. Next week we have Noah from Beerism jumping on.
Ooh, that's
Another
gonna
part
be
of the
exciting.
squad. Going to be fun.
Oh no.
Right? Bloody Noah. Legend. All right, guys. Enjoy the night.
I'm
Stay
gonna
safe.
watch
Stay
that.
home.
I'm gonna watch that.
It's going to be wild as well. Stay home. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands, get it in ya.
All right? Cheers, guys.